All right, there you go. If you were watching the pre-stream bit, you got to see terribly the deep fried version of the Alien short I just put out. If you don't get that at all, one, watch the short. It's just that without the deep fried filter. Two, watch last night's fuck around stream. Yeah. You know, I was just sitting here with like a couple extra minutes to kill. You know, I fired it up and I'm like, oh, wait, shit, can I literally just drag this in? I can. It's not, obviously OBS is not formatted for vertical screen because I turned it into a vertical short. But yeah, give me a second to fire the @ in Discord. Because that was officially the pre-show bit. I was thinking, like, oh, can I redirect? And it's like, no, you can only redirect to premieres or other live streams. Okay, so we set the @ in Discord. Let's actually shift up. Not that I didn't tweet about this, too, earlier today when I made the thumbnail. Because Influence Dragon is in the shot. And he's like, bro thinks he's on the team. But yes, welcome to another exciting episode of Fail Portrayal. YouTube thinks there's a little bit of buffering. Luckily, it's giving me the buffering alert after I did the video insert. I will warn everybody in chat. I may have to warn them again, but my internet has been more persnickety than usual. Like, I'm pretty sure it carried the entirety of last night's, like, 3.5 hour stream of just me fucking around. Like, no problems. We've already had a couple of dips today in the middle of some other stuff. So, if the stream does go down, remember, just stick around, refresh. It'll be right back. It's just something's going on with my ISP or whatever, where it gets a little finicky. Or it's because it's so hot and also stormy. I don't know. But today's episode will be about resonators. Not Red Dragon Archfiend, because we should have done like 90% of that when we did the Signer Dragons episode.
Yeah, all the red cards, I assume.
Yeah, we got the extra reds. And just the resonators will take us a little bit too. But the Red Dragon itself, pretty sure we got most of those. Only a couple of the more recent supports we won't actually have gotten, because the reason why I was thinking about this is because while this is a structure deck from 2013, not 2013, 2023, wrong digit, but it was also basically the cover archetype. I gotta check what's centered. Mostly. It was basically the cover archetype for Blazing Dominion, which just came out. So, you know, it's on the top of mind and also does have some brand new support. So the new Red Dragon stuff that was in Blazing Dominion is like brand new. So we will talk about that. But most of the other Red Dragon stuff we should have done. But if you don't know, Resonators, Red Dragon, and Red Dragon accessories are the archetype associated with Jack Atlas, pictured here on the card, called Everyone's King. And how should we describe the good old Jack Atlas? He's basically like if Kaiba had character development. It's a little mean to Kaiba,
I mean, Kaiba did. It's more just, how about this?
Kaiba did have character development, but he started a lot worse than Jack. Jack has like actual arc.
Jack is the rival type figure who always has the same kind of hair like Kaiba, and then Kite. And I can't explain for
He is the rival character for 5Ds. It's just that,
he's the rival character, but he also is his own character because he actually has a love interest and an actual like antagonist.
Yeah, that's what it's like he actually has a character arc.
He becomes a secondary lead.
Yes, actually, that's a good way to say it. He goes from being the rival to being much more of the Lancer, the secondary protagonist, who is our protagonist's foil.
I am still the camp that I still think like them putting effort into Crow ruined half the plot, but that's.
It may have. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about it that I just don't think is like.
No, I think they just focused on Crow. They just focused on Crow, and I think it caused everything else to fall apart.
Crow feels like a little bit too much of an extra guy. I haven't actually watched 5Ds all the way through, but I've seen clips and analysis and stuff. Crow kind of feels like they realized like partway through that they didn't have the Joey or Cyrus type guy. They didn't have like the backup protagonist best friend, and they were like, oh shit, we need one of those. Crow. And then it's like, wait, fuck, we've got this whole number of dragons thing going on.
They already have the kids though. They already like literally.
Yeah, but
Leo
like
and Luna.
the kids, they are not quite
like
the
Cyrus.
same because like even. First of all, very rude to call Cyrus the kid sidekick. He's the same age as Jaden. They're all in school together. He just
the tiny,
needs to drink his fucking
one.
milk. He needs his
Actually, it turns out. Just drink orange juice or better for calcium than milk. And most people are allergic to milk anyway, so just drink orange juice. Milk's a scam.
You're just saying that because you watched. You were radicalized by one save data slideshow. Milk is not a scam, but there is a dairy industry in America that's very large. It's just that it also comes from Europe, where dairy cattle were also big. By the way, there's non-cow dairy, which I'm sure several non-white cultures would question you about.
I like almond milk. I don't think we need cow's milk for everything.
Not dairy. Dairy doesn't have to be lactose-based, though. There's goat's milk and cheese. There is camel cheese that exists. Anyway, this is a complete aside. No, but yes, no. Cyrus was supposed to be, a peer type character who had his own arc with his older brother. It's just that they did the anime character design thing where like the kid really needs to eat his vitamins or something, man. Like, and stop eating so many egg witches because he's like I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be the same age, the same class year as Jaden, and he's like a head shorter. But his brother is like a head taller than everybody, so like I know the genes are there.
I think it's like one. He got one of the fucking liquid solid thing. Where like one got the other gene, the father's gene, one got the mother's genes.
Maybe. But yeah, so what we're saying is that Jack Atlas is actually probably the best rival character that Yu-Gi-Oh's ever put out because he starts as an antagonist, even though he comes from the same place Yusei does, and then goes through the transformation into a secondary protagonist who in both in-universe and out-of-universe is generally well-liked, as evidenced by, again, this is a card that he's on, which is called Everyone's King. Look at it. Look at him being happy with these children.
It's also because he was also like the big champion for like the pro circuit in like the city that actually had it, where like the pro circuit was like the biggest thing. So like he wasn't a heel, but he was more like the asshole face champion.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of crazy heels that kept fighting him.
Yeah. Honestly, if you think about, not to say that all anime goes back to pro wrestling, but because you can argue that Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling is kind of sports entertainment, there is a lot of pro wrestling in it. There are a lot of crazy heel energy and storylines in Yu-Gi-Oh! And 5Ds is no different. Some of those guys were, like, wild. Anyway, so the Resonators and Red Dragon Archfiend, a.k.a. Red Demon's Dragon, they're Jack Atlas's cards, so they've always been reasonably popular. It also helps that while tactically Stardust Dragon can defeat Red Dragon Archfiend, generally Red Dragon Archfiend beats up Stardust, and practically that makes it, a card that has seen just as much competitive play over the years. Like, when you're talking about generic 8 synchros, Stardust is a great card going first and going into certain plays, and obviously has synergy with Starlight Road. But if you're on the crackback, Red Dragon Archfiend has always been a killer card, and so have it been its various spin-offs. So, I don't really know, like, why they decided to give Jack Atlas these little demon guys, give him some little guys, other than they're basically like the Resonators are basically like the evil hee versions of, I say evil, of you say Synchrons.
They're meant to be the Resonators, so like Resonation, they're meant to be the demonic Synchrons essentially.
Yeah, I mean they're all Shunas, and they have the tuning fork, so there is some aesthetic synergy.
Do we ever have to do an essay? Do we ever have to do a fucking video essay about like how Rada literally has defined 80% of digital Yu-Gi-Oh content like Mindspace?
I mean, I don't think it's 80%. I think he does have some good jokes, and that's not even his fault. That's
all
Jimbo who pronounced it that way.
All comedic Yu-Gi-Oh content comes from Rada, is originated by Rada's content, I think.
Not all of it, but I don't know. That Montenegrin is very funny. I don't know how well Jimbles also helps. Jimbles is also pretty funny. The two of them together make a great comedic duo. Like, I don't know. There's just something about like you said, comedic Yu-Gi-Oh content, other than obviously Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series, which doesn't have the same staying power anymore, but I think a lot of people do remember some of the old school memes. People still say "Screw the rules, I have money." Maybe because it's still relevant to our real life. But like, Rada's intro skits and jokes interspersed in his script are way funnier than a lot of people are. And I know MBT does skits before 10-minute testings, some of which are pretty funny.
I was watching for the skits, honestly.
Yeah, I check out the skits. I don't watch like all the videos, but when I do watch the videos, I'll check out the skits. But a lot of them don't have quite the same punch as some of Rada's jokes. And I also think that like some of it is that I don't think, being in Montenegro, if you don't know, but I don't think Rada's ever had any expectations that he's ever going to work with Konami. So some of his jokes are a lot more biting than I think some of the Yugi Sphere feels like doing. The joke where Shape Snatch, the one whose shape is snatched. The joke where he says, "I figured out how we're going to fix Yu-Gi-Oh! First thing we do, we're going to ban all the tuners." That one resonated because that is actually how Konami was approaching the TCG ban list when Halki Fibrax was legal. They were banning like every tuner extender rather than just kill Hulk because he came out 6 months ago. And unfortunately, Konami still does that sometimes with the ban list. Like, they won't hit the stuff that's clearly in brand new product because they would like the product to sell. And once again, I would like to reiterate to everybody, you cannot tell Konami that they need to design better product that sells better at your local retailers and then also be like, they have to ban a card that came out last weekend. If you ban a chase card in a set that came out last weekend, that will make it harder to move up product shelves. This is just simple maths. Anyway, the ban all the tuners joke is like, resonates.
Yeah. I wasn't saying it was bad. I was just saying I just think it's like, it's a bit, it keeps showing up all the time because it's like, I have this bit of like, I feel like people should never use a bit more than 3 times per like a few months because then it becomes immediately repetitive.
You do got to be careful about repeating jokes. That's why they talk about, rule of threes or comedy comes.
It's why
you got to watch out.
What I'm saying is 3 months, three. You can do 3 times per like a set of months, or per time if you do a video every few months per video. To me, that's why I bring up people making jokes at the same time every time, and being like, "This is the 5th time you've done this week, man."
I appreciate and understand your stance on that. I have to warn you, there are people whose brains are configured differently than yours, and not just in that way. I just mean in general. This is the thing about like, and I only kind of understand it because I've never been to any sort of therapist who might talk about it, but the whole stimming thing, which has taken the internet by storm, taking a word that I'm pretty sure that's what it means, but like, some people just say bits or jokes as like a vocal stim or a self stim, or just that's what their brain does, is kind of loop that audio over and over again. I don't think they really mean it as like a comedy thing. And so I don't want to necessarily be like, man, that joke's real tired. But I do also understand, like I said, where you come from, where like, if you go out of your way to keep hammering home the bit, that's how you make bits, jokes, comedy trite. You make them cliche by overextending them to the point where the dopamine hit somebody gets isn't the same. Even if you like a joke, if it gets repeated over and over again, it just doesn't hit the same way.
All right, I'm trying to answer Ark's bit, or Borg's thing he brought up, and it was like, I think Queen Bee, I guess would be Trooper, just because I can't think of anything else.
Or Battle Wasp.
Battle Wasp also true.
Black Cat's Lunalight.
I'm trying.
She literally is the Liger Dancer.
That's fair. I guess we could do like mono, bi, and Trihorn for fucking Thunder. I'm blanking on their names, unfortunately, but it's like.
Yeah, Wicked Thunder could be the lightning bite. I mean, that's a really
Van
bad deck for a really good wrestler.
Van Patel literally, I think, is just like Archfiend or literally just Vampire.
Yeah.
The King. I want to do weapons. So I wanted to do like Infernoble Knight, but like.
It could be Noble.
There's a bit of an
action for Noble there.
Because he's still like the champ and the king kind of thing, you know?
You could also do the Heroic Blades. Not that that's all speaking of Rada. He just put a video out on that.
Brute Bomber is just Goki.
That's a good one, yeah. Goki. With the heal and all that. Dancing Green is Frogs.
Dancing Green.
That works because they've got some, they've got some side
archetypes, so yeah.
I mean, I hate to say to put
one of the
painters, but that's a pretty good fit.
I was gonna say I was gonna start Artmagia because I think there's one that is actually about artists.
Actually, no, Artmage is good and newer. That would work. That
or the
that archetype
was it Spray Painters?
Hers dropped.
Or is it Canine that just has like? Was it Canine that had like a spray painting, or like cool tunes all just DJs? None of them actually like do like spray.
No, I don't think there's not any actual like counterculture in Canines or Cool Tune. Well, there's a little counterculture in Cool Tune, but you know what I mean, Chad. There's
different because they're DJ assassins. Yeah. They're fucking like weird,
if you wanted Dancing Green to like actually kill you, Cool Tune would be the pick for him. Howling Blade, I'm having a tough time thinking about like what is actually the dog archetype. Because Canine doesn't quite fit because they're also weasels sometimes.
I think it still fits Canine because it's still the idea of lightning speed, cyber bruisers.
The Tyrant is Glad Beasts, duh.
Oh, you're right. Fuck yeah.
They all have a bunch of different weapons too, but also the champ, the king.
Yeah.
The arena, no. Lindworm is take your pick of evil dragon archetypes.
Lindworm makes me think of Evil Eye Dragon, honestly.
Like, there's a lot you could do there.
Because, I think you need a dragon that regenerates.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of boys.
The brothers are just sharks.
I could do sharks, yeah. I mean,
I
will actually say that there's a great opportunity. Yeah, I was going to say, that's a great opportunity that I don't think you guys ever actually done to, actually... wombo combo fire and water together.
Earth and Wind.
You could say that it's a tag team duel, so they're High Tide on Fire Island. They're Fire Kings and Atlanteans.
That's literally a thing with with two of the certain rank cards of the fire dinosaur and the ice dinosaur thing. That was literally a tag duel, but they cheated by basically their decks never shuffled, so their decks are always pre-organized.
Oh, you gotta hate the ripple shuffling.
But
yeah, so
that's what am I saying? I guess Howling. I don't know Howling Blade would be besides. I guess
I'm not sure about Howling Blade.
Boral or Cyber Dragon in my mind, just because of because outside the wolf part, but it's still
there are some.
They also think about a Savage, where you literally just become the giant devil gun.
Yeah, he's got some bits. There's not really an actual archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh that's just Gundam, funnily enough. So I don't know for sure.
I would say
I'd hate to stick Howling Blade with Star Trek because that's a really bad. deck.
No, I mean it would be no, it would be the Star Dragons. I guess technically, I'm blanking on their name. The rank 1 archetype that's not a White Crown. The one that overlaps with Earth's Arctic.
Oh, Drytron. Yeah,
Drytron.
like
It could be
the Draco
Drytron
and
or
Ursa and stuff is like that doesn't seem quite right.
No, it's that or do World Legacy just for the actual World Legacy devices.
I mean, he has a
No,
Fenrir,
no.
So like,
what were the fucking?
Could be Generator.
I'm blanking on the knights, like the knights that had fucking the Jack Knights. That's a Japanese name.
Well, that's the name of Mech Knights, yeah.
Mech Knights. He could be Mech Knights.
Could be Mech Knights. Those guys are psychic and stuff.
He also has like his signature things are like he has like 4 different line attacks.
True. But yes, Jack Atlas is very popular. And
Alright, we did that. That was fun.
Yeah.
Fun little decision.
No. Listen, that was a good diversion. Speaking of bits, we did a bit, and now it's done. I think we did actually name everybody in the Arcadian because Brute Bomber is on there twice. Let us talk about our actual little guys, the Resonator. We're going to start with the original little guy, Dark Resonator. And these were, unlike I want to say the first few.
Okay, the joke is
like,
he's Goki and then
like,
he becomes back to
tuning
Generator.
archetypes.
He comes back to Generator.
There were some archetypes obviously that required specific tuners. That's how Synchron started. I don't know whether it was intended that way in the show or just that the game advanced far enough within a couple of sets that they were getting away from that kind of requirement with tuners already. But the Resonators are usually generic tuners. They are not called for by specific monsters Jack Atlas owned. He just, has some funny wombo combos. And they all kind of fit this theme. They're usually fiends. They're not all dark. They're actually a whole bunch of different attributes. But they are fiend tuners. Usually level 3, though again, they gave him a couple of different level variations so you can actually do some funny synchro stuff, which is nice. I appreciate that. That is actually something I did on stream on the fuck around is I played the Dice Rally event in Master Duel with the Dragundi Loner they had, and then I tried to spice it up a little with the ratios. And Dragundi's a real fun deck that's very good at making its combo into one or maybe both of its level 10s. But you really do not have a lot of flexibility in that combo because you are pretty specifically locked exactly to the tuners that summon themselves. So actually not doing exactly 6, 8, 10 is tricky. Which is a little weird because they actually have level 7 synchros, which are okay.
I thought they said 11, so I thought they had like an odd combo and even like
no,
an odd
they don't actually have an 11. That's the Ice Barrier Dragon Lancia, which is the Sync 11, because that's like supposed to extend off of like the Trishula lines. You can make the 10s and 11s. I'm pretty sure they capped at Ascalon and a red bar for Dragunity, because the two latest cards, why Master Duel has them as a loner, is there's a new Sync 8 that's easier to make than Barcha because it doesn't require exactly a winged beast. And then they gave them a Link 4, which is Georgius, which is like kind of another Synchro monster, but is also a weird guy. I'm not a big fan of them including Georgius. I just do kind of get why they didn't want to include something higher than a Sync 10. I'm pretty sure they're Sync 10s exactly, so they're one bigger than Trishula. But anyway, Resonators are fairly generic. They're usually fiends. They are usually level 3, but they've got a lot of flexibility. And this is the original one, Dark Resonator, a dark level 3 fiend tuner with 1300 attack and 1300 defense. And the first time this card will be destroyed by battle each turn, it isn't. That's all that Dark Resonator does, and that's pretty amazing. Dark Resonator was a star of our because he was a fucking rare in Duelist Genesis. This guy was the star of all of our early synchro styles in Prague, just because he doesn't die for a turn. If you're going first, you can play Dark Resonator in defense mode and just assume your opponent won't combo you to death, and you'll have a tuner. We can see from his visual design, he's got a little, his hat isn't very Black Mage-esque, but he's got a Black Mage-esque little face in there that's all hidden. He's got some cartoony little hands. And he's just got a bunch of different tools. He's got literal cymbals with a C behind him. He's got a tuning fork, and he's got a little... I don't actually know what you call the like wand you use to play like a xylophone or a tuning fork. But it's the actual tool. I'm sure there is a technical name in music for what that is, but yeah, he's got the little thingy you use to play. Oh, wild. Sorry, I didn't realize that, all of each of the three friends, Team 3Ds,
the Enforcers, yeah.
Yeah, each of them has their first tuner has very similar stats. They're all level 3 darks with 1300 attack. That's Junk Synchron, Dark Resonator, and Gale the Whirlwind. But our little Gooble here is on several cards that are not directly related, but are kind of a, generic synchro support or anti-support cards. So it's a pretty iconic design that they play around with. And that's really all there is to say about Dark Resonator. It's not destroyed once per turn. It's a level 3 tuner. It doesn't have any, weird restrictions like some other cards do about synchroing, It's just, hey, you can make a guy. And so, next, technically, still pretty early in the phase, but we're going to get into the next batch of them, because Jack Athos had a whole bunch of these things, and I think originally the idea was to give him one for each element, every attribute. I don't think they ever pulled that off, because I'm pretty sure there's no water resonator. But they went through a whole bunch of these. Okay, now it says OBS is reconnected. Sorry about that, gang. I was still speaking because for some reason it took very long for the computer to give me the OBS disconnected alert. But that is what I warned you about. I said it's... Okay, says OBS is reconnected again. Okay, chat's saying we're good. It was also weird. OBS, double connected there. I apologize for the VOD where there'll probably be a sudden jump in the music. Because OBS lost its connection and lost some frames there. I'll send a thumbs up in chat so people know. Oh, actually, shit, I forgot. I just realized I've had my chat window hidden because I recorded something else earlier. So, hold on a second. I didn't even think about it, because usually my chat overlay tells me that the live stream chat is not connected, so... I hid it because I recorded that, the bit earlier. Hit it to make it this one. There it is. Okay. Chat window playing correctly. Howdy, gang. So, I don't know exactly, like I said, where we got cut off, but Creation Resonator is a wind tuner, which is weird. It's a wind fiend. Windy fiend, and he's got he's got a little fan on his back instead of cymbals. Why? Why do the symbols mean darkness? I don't know. His hat's also slightly different, I think. He's got bigger cheeks.
Yeah, it's got a different vibe. It's like same style with different vibe.
This one's really weird because I'm not actually exactly sure what the idea here is. I think this is supposed to combo with Majestic Dragon to make, Red Nova easier. Creation Resonator says if you control level 8 or higher Synchro, you can special summon it from your hand. So that's basically only to set up with another, a level 1 tuner of some kind, because a lot of Jack Atlas's higher level thing is, 2 tuners. Which I'm sure the anime called double tuning or something. Maybe over tuning. I know Axial Synchro is when you synchro with a synchro. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about Creation Resonator. It's a cool concept, and I think there are some versions of the deck where you'd still pepper in, 1 these days, because it's a level 3 Fiend you can search, but also, it's a really weird card. Speaking of slightly different vibes, this guy's in basically the exact same pose, but, his vibe is completely different. This is Barrier Resonator. And yes, this is Barrier Resonator, not, secretly Battery Resonator.
Never seen this one before.
It's not a very good one. This came out in, 2011. I'll shortcut it. He's a level 1 Fiend tuner, so he's got different level ratios, and his effect is that you can discard him from your hand to make a tuner unable to be destroyed by battle and take no battle damage. So, it's a very anime effect card. Having a level 1 tuner is not bad, but I think there are better ones in the deck. It's just that like I said, his vibe is very weird. He's basically in the exact same pose that Creation Resonator is in. But, his eyes are, pink now, and he's got, a little battery symbol on his front, and he's got a little shock pack on his back. He's just a lot more cartoony. Almost, friendly. Also, thank you, Chad. It is double tuning. I thought so. If you don't have a cool name for your cool thing, is it that even that cool? But yeah, Barrier Resonator is a level 1 light Fiend tuner. 300 attack, 800 defense, and has that quick effect I mentioned before. I think there was some discussion of using this in, Fiendsmith RDA bridges, but I'm pretty sure there's a better light Resonator target if you wanted to do that. So, yeah, Barrier Resonator is just, it's a cute idea, but I think that there are better cards that do this these days, and, it's very anime-inspired. So we'll move on to the next one. This is the Earth one. Like I said, I don't think they ever got around to a Water Resonator, but maybe they did and I forgot him. This is, Clock Resonator. I won't say it, Chad, but you have my permission to say the obvious joke of removing one of the letters in this name in chat. But speaking of not recycling... Speaking of not recycling bits, I won't do it. I know people have done that gag before.
I more think about the starting in community college bit of being all right, so Meg, what's your stance on this? Does clockwise mean there's a starting position, or more is it a directional? Is it more just a directional motion?
Oh my god, wow. That does feel like a community college question. I think
No, Solarian community college, which is a magic thing.
Oh,
it was a whole argument they had about being basically at the commander game they were playing was for clockwise, basically said I could pick anyone any of the 4 people starting here and go clockwise from them, because technically the clockwise is the motion, not the starting point. And 2 people to argue, no, technically a clock will always start at 12 or 1, and it's I don't know where this is coming. What?
So
I guess
no,
you think it's actual clock, but
to my interpretation, no. Clockwise or counterclockwise has always been the direction of the rotation. Clockwise is rotating right from the top. Counterclockwise is left from the top. You can say that a clock has a starting point, but also that's technically incorrect. We just decided that 12 is the epicenter. But it's it doesn't have to be. It just so happens that the Earth rotates in a pretty even 24-ish hour period. There's actually a little bit of junk variation in that, and that will cause us problems in 25,000 years or something. But anyway, yeah, I've always thought of clockwise and counterclockwise as a direction of rotation. It doesn't have to be the 12 o'clock point. That's why we have a separate discussion for clock faces as directions. You say 12 o'clock. I'll let chat percolate on that one. Yeah, Clock Resonator is an Earth Fiend tuner, level 3, 1200 attack, 600 defense. And it just says, once per turn, this face-up defense position card can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. It's literally just Dark Resonator 2. It has basically the same effect. It's got slightly shittier stats, but it is protected from card effects once per turn. That's it. That's all it is. And on the one hand, there are some decks that require Earth tuners, so that's nice, but I feel like requiring a Dark tuner is way more common, so you probably didn't see a lot of Clock Resonator. By the way, if I go silent a little bit, that's probably me just being slightly paranoid about double-checking when there's a lull in the chat or the conversation. Are we still connected? Yeah, there's no drop trains. We're good. I feel like my audio is slightly louder than normal today, so if it OBS clips a little, I'm sorry.
A little bit, that's fine. Honestly, I feel like the issue is always if I have you down on a mobile device, you always sound too quiet on the stream.
I have actually tried boosting my OBS capture a little, but I don't necessarily know what unholy things YouTube is doing to my audio compression. I've tried to filter it up a little, but it does clip sometimes now. It will max out and lose itself. Maybe it's just for the first time in a while I have more energy on stream. Anyway, chat, I paused also for a second because I'm gonna play a game with you. I'm gonna post now one of the Fire Elemental Resonators. Will you be able to tell which one this is? Because there's 4 of them, and they're all named very similar. So, does chat know which Resonator this is off the top of their head? We'll wait a second for the video to percolate. Shout out to everybody watching. Got a Flare Resonator in chat. Flare Resonator going once. Anybody else? Any other guesses?
I don't know what the options are.
Okay, well, I should have guessed since we were just talking earlier. Well, 20 minutes ago now, but you know what I mean. We were talking not that long ago about how Jack Atlas is really popular with the people at home. The audience does know, yes. This is Flare Resonator. This is the first Fire-type Resonator they printed. Flare Resonator.
His deck became a mix of Fire and Dark anyway, because Red Dragon.
Yeah, that seems like a funny Konami thing where, some people got the memo that it was still a Dark archetype, and then some people were just
or more,
it's red
Demon
now,
Dragon,
it's fire,
yeah.
right? Red
Daemon,
means fire. Yeah, it is Red Daemon. Is the original OCG order. Flare Resonator really, literally is just Dark Resonator, I think, with very slightly different ears, and I guess he has a different colored ball on his xylophone player, and obviously his back's on fire. but like it's truly just almost the entirely same color scheme, just with more fire. Level 3, Fire Fiend Tuner, 300 attack, 1300 defense. He's got Swapsies. And his effect is just a synchro monster that uses this as synchro material, gains 300 attack. It seems like a, an anime, cheap shot effect of like, oh ho, but you didn't realize I tuned with my Flare Resonator, so my monster has 300 more attack. You're dead, kind of a thing. But this could actually matter back in the day. We've talked a lot about attack modulation over the history of Fail Portrayal, and 300's not nothing. That goes from, crashing your 3k Red Dragon Archfiend to beating over a 3k guy.
Yeah.
So, like, it can matter a little. It's just that because this doesn't have any other protection or other special summon effects, Flare very rapidly fell behind to some of the other Resonators. Like, I think out of this first batch, because we're all still in the period where, of it still being the 5Ds anime, out of the original, 6-ish guys, I think it was mostly Clock and Darkblade. Also, hey guys, guess what? I'm wrong. This is Force Resonator, and I forgot. They did make a Water Resonator. When you see his art load properly, chat, you'll understand why I forgot that this was the Water one.
Oh man, because it looks electric.
Yeah, I guess he has like a balloon behind him, but yeah, no, he's just shooting Force Lightning.
I thought that's like a giant metal spear.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think it might be
because
it has
the fucking Wukong punishment circlet on his head.
Yeah, I don't know what we were thinking. I feel like they literally just made this one water because they made the other 5 and they were like, oh shit, we forgot to do the water one.
Sometimes it might actually just be that. Like the more I learn about certain things in the world, sometimes it is just the dumbest and most thoughtless thing.
True.
But that's only more in the world of capitalism. It's usually the most greedy and unthinking thing.
Yeah. You've also probably never seen this one because Force Resonator is also unfortunately bad. I mean, he's a Water Fiend, which is pretty unique, and they're all tuners so far. But he's level 2, not level 1, and not level 3. So it kind of fucks up some of your math. And also, again, this is a tuner without some kind of effect that makes it better at tuning. Force Resonator's effect is you can send this face-up card you control to the graveyard, target a face-up monster you control. If it attacks this turn, it becomes Armades, basically. Your opponent can't activate cards or effects that target a monster until the end of the damage step. Another weird anime-type effect to give Jack Atlas to make Red Dragon Archfiend cooler, but doesn't actually make it any easier to summon Red Dragon Archfiend. There are, again, synchros that call for water tuners. That can be nice, but usually it's mostly non-tuner water monsters, and it's not really that useful. Also, by the way, I just want to say, it's so funny. So this is called Force Resonator, obviously, and he's shooting Force Lightning. That's very funny for, 2011 when this card got printed. The trivia page on Wikipedia also calls out that in addition to the fact that the ball kind of looks like Darth Vader's helmet, it does have, they literally also agree that it has the Wukong circlet.
It looks like it, exactly.
Yeah, so, no. Very funny.
Also, to me, it's more of
Yeah.
I mean, besides the electric whirlpool in the background, but the ball shape is weird because it's are the two divots on the top its eyes, or is it actually doing a fucking Kamen Rider Knight helmet? I will show. Well, no, I'm gonna grab you that face. So what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. You're right. It could be a visor, or it could be the eyeballs are
look
up
at
there.
This. Just look at this. It looks like this.
I would assume it's I would probably assume it's meant to be that it's got a visor, and the dots above are eyebrows. Can I? No. There we go.
You don't need to show it, but it's, you know what I mean, though?
I'll
It looks very
flash it
similar.
for a second.
But, it's a similar kind of, it's not exactly like that, but it's a similar kind of helmet. I could probably expect some kind of anime night thing somewhere. It feels like it's a reference to something, but I can't place it.
Is that frame okay? Yeah, it is. All right.
It's too big.
There was your reference. I mean, the main thing was on the screen. I want to make sure it was framed up for just a second. But yeah, Force Resonator, yes, truly a water card. And he, again, has an effect that isn't even related to being good at tuning. Now, let me double check when these block of guys came out. Because once they did the first, blob of elements, they were like, ah, yes, we can do some more of these. And did, in fact, get a few more of them involved. Let's see, when did this come out? Okay, so this next batch is from moving on to the 2015 era. Because, again, Jack Atlas, so cool. We brought him back when we did Arc 5. They also brought back Crow. Don't worry about it.
I mean, the
yes,
whole
there
thing
were
about
some new
Arc-
Resonators and some
the whole
new
thing
stuff
of Arc
involved.
V is that like it was a fight between the production, the producer, and so much shit. Like there was just like so much internal conflict that like shit was just fighting itself during that arc, and it just fell apart.
There's a lot of dumb stuff with that. I think Arc V has some cool ideas, and like I agree with like their conception of it as an anniversary season, so they were calling back to lots of different stuff. But it like lots of bigger, longer animes had messier production. I think there's a reason why almost every anime in the universe is on like the 13-episode core format now. Like, creating 100 or 150 episode long series for like 4 years is just not tenable anymore. It really fucks up your animators and your writers and the rest of your production team to have to try and hit that deadline every week with no interruptions for like 2 years. It's tough. So, you get a few. But before we talk about the Arc 5 era, I do want to mention there are a couple of non-Resonator-related spell traps. We'll talk about the actual Resonator spell traps in a second. But there are a couple of these cards which have, like, our little buddy on them that I just wanted to show for the sake of art. This is Soundproof, which is just, you can only activate it in main phase 1 if you don't control synchros, and it just locks you out of synchro summoning until your opponent's next end phase. It's a dumb floodgate.
Of course.
A card that may actually may have ended up in some synchro decks and is related to Jack Atlas stuff directly is Synchro Call. You can see Dark Resonator is summoning the Peace Golem, because that was also a Jack Atlas thing, was the Peace Golems to make bits. All those. So, Synchro Call is a normal trap that says target a monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but it's negated. If you do, after this effect resolves, you can Synchro Summon a Dark Dragon or Fiend-type Synchro monster using only monsters you control as materials, including the summoned monster. This is like pre-PCST, because it like... Or its PCST is a little bad, because it's pretty early. It was printed like once in 2017. But this is an effect that like literally all kinds of decks are doing today. Like, that's a literal Cool Tune effect, so... That's pretty good that that's a, like, late Arc V. And then our next one is much more comedic, but this is the card art for Tuner's High. Which comes from Shining Victories in 2016, so this is another, mid to late Arc 5 card. It shows... Top Runner running, which is another, random tuner monster. But it shows Top Runner running with Nitro Synchron, Junk Synchron, and Dark Resonator. And it's just all it shows. And if you didn't know what it did, again, the effect's pretty forward-thinking. It just says, discard a monster, summon a tuner from your deck that's got the same... What is it? Same type and attribute, but one level higher. So, like, that works. Unfortunately, if this was meant to synergize with Resonators, it's tough because a lot of them have slightly different levels and whatnot. Or they have a lot of the same levels and slightly different attributes. Oh, that's a small card art. Okay, here we go. So, the Arc 5 era. We start with Chain Resonator. You can tell that it's been a few years because the color palette is slightly different, and we're doing different things for the backgrounds. A lot of the first batch of Resonators have just the Yu-Gi-Oh! Like filter background effect. This has that, but also he's got like the ghostly images of his chains behind him. Also, he's got fingers.
The previous ones had fingers too.
Some of them did. The original Dark Resonator, his hands were kind of like globular. Force Resonator obviously has fingers because he's doing a force hand, but like I feel like there was usually a little less detail in that area. And it's like, no, this guy definitely has clearly visible hands. His helmet design is a little different because it doesn't, like, wrap around the bottom half of his face. Which most of them, but not all of them did. I wonder if there was any rhyme or reason to why they had slightly different helmets. But remember how I said I was pretty sure there was a better Light Fiend Resonator? Here he is. Chain Resonator is a level 1 Light Fiend tuner, 100-100. When this card's normal summoned while you have a Synchro monster on the field, you can special a Resonator from your deck except Chain Resonator. It does use your normal summon, which can be a little tricky, but this is way better than Barrier Resonator because it summons another Resonator from your deck. Hello? And again, obviously, this is supposed to set up, you know, Supernova and all the double tuning stuff that that Jack Atlas works on by giving you a level 1 tuner and then you summon the next tuner. But also, again, it's just a good guy. You're summoning another tuner from deck. That's crazy good. That was Hulk's thing.
Always good.
So, yeah. There's another Light Fiend one. I had a couple of these. They're being very prescient. So, like I said, because the Crimson King structure deck came out in 23, there were a lot of attempts to think about bridging a Fiendsmith package into this. I think with the Blazing Dominion stuff, you don't need to bother anymore. In fact, the sub-engine you probably play is Assault Modes, which I believe is still an episode we need to do. Martha will fact-check me on that later, either live in the stream or watching the VOD. But we probably do need to do an Assault mode episode if we haven't already, because there's like a whole extra bit of legacy support that's like separate from the Assault mode monsters. But that's like a package you can put in there now. But this is Mirror Resonator. He has a big mirror. And like it's a little because he's zoomed out, but you can see what I was talking about, where like, yeah, this one technically has fingers, but they're like way less detailed now. Like the shadows are way looser. So it looks like he's got big old mittens. But he's got a spooky mirror. Also, he's like pink. I don't know why he's pink. Mirror Resonator, though, is a level 1 Light Fiend tuner. Again, 0/0. If your opponent controls a face-up monster with special summon from the extra deck and you don't, while this card's in your hand or graveyard, you can special it, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only suspect once per turn. Once per turn, target a face-up monster opponent controls. Treat this card's level as that monster's original level if it's used for a Synchro summon. This is another card that's great. This is another great card to have because it's just like you can special summon it for free, but it gets banished, which was very, very popular from Arc 5 on, but could still be, you know, seen today. But just basically fairly free extension depending on when your opponent is doing stuff. It is another level 1 tuner you can bust out with Chain Resonator. And also, if you don't want the level 1, you can level fix. That's all pretty good.
Very solid.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I think you have enough Resonators you don't need to, but if you did need a level 1 tuner, you might still be playing Mirror. Anyway, since you guys were so good at the first game, you can probably figure out which this one is, because this is the more popular one. This is Red Resonator. This is their second crack at the Fire one, and this is another guy who has been popular in a lot of places up and down for a lot of years. I recall when I was getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, literally 6 years ago, I'm pretty sure now, you know, talking about how to improve deck building, since the last time I was in Yu-Gi-Oh was when this card was brand new, you know, the 2015-2016 period is I think when I first posted some old school EDO Pro captures on this YouTube channel, some of which you might still be able to dig up, I don't remember. But this was a card people would say to play in certain brews was Red Resonator. Like, this guy has been popular for a number of years and is a very good card to include in a number of combos. So Red Resonator is a Fiend Fire, level 2 tuner, 600 attack, 200 defense. When this card is normal, you can special a level 4 or lower from your hand. When this card is special summoned, target a face-up monster on the field, gain LP equal to its attack. You can only use this effect once per turn. So, on normal, it extends into another guy so that you can synchro, perhaps into some sort of Synchro 6. We'll talk about that later, in case we didn't do Red Wyvern earlier. But also, on special, it just gains you lots of extra LP. A great guy to put in a number of packages whenever you're playing fire decks, fiend decks, all kinds of things. I really like his design too, because he's like actually doing something different with his like robe being on fire, the little fire horns.
Yeah.
Like we're getting a little more creative with it than just has a weird thing. Which of course means that when we go to our next guy, Synchron Resonator, which is spelled different from Synchron because its original Japanese name is possibly Synclone Resonator, but written the same way as Shinkuron Resonator. It's very weird. He's just got a different thing on his bib and has a weird thing sticking out of his back. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a fake Synchron. That's why it doesn't have. It's spelled SNK, not SNCH. Cinch. Now you might think from all the green, this might be a wind guy. No, this is another dark tuner, level 1 fiend dark tuner, 100, 100.
I find it really funny that the metal shapes don't actually line up like the icon on his tabard.
Yeah, like I said, I think that's deliberate. I mean, they might also like slide to. No, actually, wait. No, I'm looking at the geometry. No, they would. I don't know if the artist fucked that up or it's supposed to be that way. It's probably supposed to be that way. I can kind of see the direction where it would fit together, but no, the proportions are not quite right.
Or it's the classic Yu-Gi-Oh thing of it would probably make sense if it was a 3D model, but because the 2D image, the depth always fucks up. Because like Yu-Gi-Oh keeps having where the depth fucks up half the time.
Like I see the lines where how it's supposed to fit together, because it's supposed to be like that. Actually, wait, no, it might work. It might just be that like you're right, the depth of field is fucking it up. It's because the other half of the base that the ace symbol is on is hidden behind Synchron Resonator. So you can rotate it so that it fits together. It's just doing a weird thing right now. And you can't see all of it. Which obviously, like you said, when you see this as a 2D or 3D still image in the anime, you would see it from different angles. Anyway,
yeah.
The effect of this guy is if a Synchro is on the field, you can special summon it from your hand. You can only special summon Synchron Resonator once per turn this way. And if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, period, target a Resonator in your graveyard except Synchron added to your hand. This guy came out in, 2015 in High Speed Riders. You still see him in some brews today. Like, I've still run into people playing, because guess what? Resonators was a structure deck in Master Duel, too. I've seen people playing the RDA combos, and you still see this guy sometimes just because it's whenever he's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can recycle a Resonator to your hand, and it's a pretty good one. Now, let's see. This next guy came out in, early Vrains, I think. God, wow, sorry. I think I understand why, but the art style of this guy... Yeah, this is Maximum Crisis, so this was Reigns. This is double Resonator, He's clearly is related to the Resonators, but also, like, I feel like there's a lot of art style departure in this.
Well, it's very much like a different artist got the design document, essentially.
Yeah. And there are a few different arts in Vrains that are like that, but this one's just like the Arc 5 era ones look pretty much like the 5Ds era ones. This one was in 2017, and it could just be that this was supposed to be like an Arc 5 card. It just was printed later. But it's weird. It sticks out a little. His hands are like way more detailed, down to like you can see the pointy nails on the right hand. The masks are like very different. The neck cloak is very different. They've added extra detail to his little wand. Like it's close, but like you said, it's definitely like we the same like design doc, the same, you know, prompt got put to two different artists, and Double Resonator comes back, you know, slightly different. Anyway, this is another level 1 tuner, but it's a level 1 Fire Fiend tuner, 0/0. If this card's
way more
or special. Go ahead.
It goes way more into the being like it's two of the Resonators together, but also like the dramedy, like the fucking tragedy comedy, or like more of the evil and sorrow masks.
Maybe a little bit of like Janus, the two-faced god kind of thing. You know, with the two different inset faces. But yes, Double Resonator's effect is on normal or special. Target a face-up monster on the field. It's treated as a tuner. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Target a fiend you control. That fiend is a tuner. You can only use each effect once per turn. So Double Resonator is a card that lets you turn other guys into tuners, so that you can double tune, because that's how this deck is supposed to work.
Super tune.
But it was definitely an oddball solution, I think. And you don't really see double these days. One you do see, though, is this is a guy you can tell came out way later, because this is from 2020 in Eternity Code. It's like every 3 years. This is Crimson Resonator. So this is when they decided to actually like use a lot more of the crimson adjective, and they were like, well, that means we got to use a Crimson Resonator. So believe it or not, despite having the red ball and all the fire, this is a dark Resonator. That said, I think you can absolutely tell that this guy is from like 2020. Like, just look at the way the color palette is on him, and like a lot cleaner lines.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, it's. I mean, listen, I'll show them side by side.
No, like I get it. I just like it's like. I guess I was thinking about it because it's like it still looks like an older style, but like.
Well,
like,
it's clearly
like,
meant to harken to the original, but like
tools.
I said. Yeah, no, it's the same art style, just the tools are better, because like I said, I'll use the Master Duel high reses for both of these, but I will put, you know, just in case anybody in chat thinks I'm talking crazy, not to say that Axe does, but I will put the two of them side by side, and like you can see there is slight, like they're similar, but there are slight differences in like how the lighting and shading is done. There's a little bit different, like the way some of the other like effects are.
You can see the layer, like the actual like digital art and drawing like layer effect.
Yeah. And
on the other one, there's like more of like an actual resonance effect, but like it's softer. Yeah. The other one's like harder lines, but it's because it's like very much where it was drawn in layers, where I think everyone was drawn like as a singular image.
Yeah. And you can see what I was talking about, where like what I said about Dark Resonator, of like, yeah, he technically has fingers, but it looks like the artist either forgot to draw some extra fingers, or when they added this as an HD scan to Master Duel, those digital artists forgot to like check for fingers, whereas again, Crimson Resonator is like Resonator was clearly,
it's just they're all like blurred together.
Yeah. Crimson Resonator was clearly drawn like straight to digital, so the artist could like zoom freely to do all the details, like the hands and the fire, and like add extra layers. But yeah, they're clearly the same design language, but we're growing a little. Also, I do love that Crimson Resonator as a Crimson has the Red Dragon Archfiend horns on. But Crimson Resonator is a phenomenal guy. I'm pretty sure he makes the cuts in decks to this day still. It's another level 2 Dark Fiend tuner. And if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Just, he's a free guy. If the only other monster you control is exactly one Dark Dragon Synchro, you can special summon up to 2 Resonators from your hand or deck, except Crimson Resonator. Use each effect once per turn. You can't special summon for the extra deck except Dark Dragons the turn you activate either of these effects. So this does Synchro lock you, but again, this was 2020. I'm pretty sure there were already 15 Red Dragon related Synchros you could play. I do believe one of them is a Fire Dragon, actually. I'll double check, because I think I have both Red Wyvern and Red Rising in this list to look at, just in case we didn't look at them in the 5Ds episode. I do believe also they have interplay with Resonators, but one of those I think is Fire, so like there's a couple of cases where there's some non-combos, some non-bos. But mostly Crimson Resonator is a great guy, because he's just a free summon, and then it's like, if you summon him out while you have a dark dragon, it's really easy to set up the double synchro shit. Yeah, now it's more than 15, but I'm pretty sure in 2020 you had at least 15 of these guys, so like being Dark Dragon synchro locked really didn't matter. But yeah, Crimson Resonator is one that's still, as just a free starter, still very solid to include. Then in the structure deck from 23, which is why we're technically doing this, there were 2 more. First, despite looking a little bit closer to the original Dark Resonator, this is Soul Resonator. We're back to fire.
That's a cool looking one.
No, this is a good one. This is from the structure deck, like I said, and the explosion effect behind is a little funny, but you know, it's got kind of like the synchro like wheel aesthetics. Like it's got to be the
vibe that it basically like it like floats at like high velocity through the giant fire wheel, the giant wheel of fire it came through.
Yeah, which
this is like very much an action. This is like almost kind of like an action shot from like this high red.
Yeah,
like,
it has speed lines. Yeah. The like halo of fire behind it looks kind of like the synchro circle and also like the Red Dragon sigil. So that's like a cool thing to add to this. But this is a Fire Fiend, level 3, 500 attack, 200 defense. If this card's normal or special, you can add a level 4 or lower Fiend except Soul Resonator. You can't special summon except for Dark Synchro monsters this turn. If a card you control be destroyed card effect while you control RDA or a Synchro monster that mentions it, you can banish it from your graveyard instead. You can use each effect once per turn. This is like your premier, if you need the fire guy, this is your premier fire tuner. And just in general, if you... Dark Resonator and Clock Resonator like don't cut it anymore with their once per turn not destroyed effects, so you kind of had to replace them with some of the other guys. As of this release, the structure deck release, I'm pretty sure that Soul Resonator was the best level 3, and Crimson is the best 2. Though Red is also a 2, that's another one that's just like really good. So Soul is just a really good guy to include in the gang. And it's on normal or special, so he kind of becomes another of your default starters. Oh, that's right. I didn't think about that when I clicked this, but this is another great one. Mentioning earlier about other reasons why Jack Atlas is cool, he actually likes girls. Vision Resonator. Chat, do you understand what's going on here?
Is a Destiny girl, or it's a fucking
It's Fortune Ladies, yeah.
I blanked the
name. It's got the Fortune Lady eye and the Fortune Lady when they're evil Fortune Lady modes, the wings. Now, if only they actually revamped Fortune Ladies and like made them bridge into fucking RDA, that'd be helpful. Let it actually do something. Anyway,
cool.
Vision Resonator.
That would have probably been more of a
sick.
thing if they actually ever show up in the second half of the show. They just never bothered.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
conspiracy theory wasn't.
Akiza's
the
lines,
conspiracy
like her importance, also got cut out of the back half of the show, and they just released a whole bunch of new, like they released Rose Dragon stuff on the Reg, so they can still update Fortune 90.
Her stuff was always good. They just didn't. I just don't know who was in charge. I just don't know who's in charge of that. I just don't know who's in charge of those parts of the series because it just feels like they dropped the ball on what was popular, or more of they just didn't think, or I guess they just never mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of complicated things about 5Z you mentioned earlier. I
sometimes think it's Japanese sexism, or just like more how writers just don't think about it the same way. Like,
some of it's sexism, but also like if it is sexism, it's weird and different from like the Western sexism because you would think that if it was just
it's a systemic thing where they just don't think about females in those kind of shows.
Yeah, like the producers just forget about female characters because you'd think it would be like if it was a Western misogyny type thing, they would be playing up. And not that anime doesn't do this sometimes. It's better about it now. And there were some that were like this. What I'm saying is, like, you would think they would play up the fan service of Akiza because she was a very popular female character with a sexy design that is, like, still thought of for her design to this day. But no, they don't really do, like, an eye candy thing with her. They just kind of, like, forgot. Her plot gets, her, if I remember correctly, her side plot basically gets dropped, and then she just doesn't do anything in the squad to the point where like they even do some quite frankly insulting stuff about like straight up in the show in the text of the show calling her a bench warmer, which is
annoying because it's
that
like
real
she's a better
really
she's
sucks.
Better. Listen, besides Blackwings being like because Crow literally just kept pulling new ones out every fucking episode, but like she could have had more. She always had a reliable deck that was good.
Well, and I mean, I mentioned before, right, that like. RDA was always a great level 8 synchro to go on. He was very good at the crackback compared to Stardust as kind of like the turn 1 play. I don't think Stardust or RDA, and definitely not fucking Black Feather Dragon, but I don't think any of those guys had as much competitive play as Black Rose Dragon blow up the board.
Honestly, I was thinking like honestly, the comparison would be like Armor Master or like Armed Wing or like the other seven.
Black Wings have been good as a deck, but I don't think any of the individual Black Ring Synchro monsters have ever been as iconic as a lot of the Signer Dragons. And like, if you're talking about metagame competitive, I think it's Black Rose by like a country mile, and then honestly, it's actually probably Fairy Dragon or Power Tool because those let you do. Very bad, no good things.
Honestly, it'd be really funny if they actually let Fairy Dragon be used. As long as it's very different work, it doesn't have its own deck until now. So it's like, if we ever redid 5Ds, Luna could have a deck now and actually play duels.
Yeah. Also, yes, chat, you bring up a good point that, yeah, I think they were trying to, like, color code the little baubles on their wands, and now they just put whatever color they want there. It's a little weird. But yeah, no, like
I think it's just to go with. I think it's meant to just go with the fact that like it has like the coloring. I think it's the coloring.
I'll say this: I think 5Ds suffers from a problem that lots of shows, not just Japanese ones, do suffer from, which is building ensemble casts. You got to be careful. Yeah, it's a long show too, but like you got to be careful about including all of them. And like when you imply that there are exactly 5 special dragon users already. That's already a 5-man band, which is really hard to balance out. But then also, it seems like the production team couldn't make up their mind about who actually the 5 important characters were sometimes.
I will also bring up that, like, I don't remember any... I know you say it was important, but, like, I remember nothing about him as a character. And, like, that's annoying for me, because it's, like... I think I just grew up watching, like... I think I grew up with shows where it's, like... I think I just dislike protagonists and, like, shonen shows, because I've noticed they're always, like, the least interesting fucking character, yet everyone keeps wanting to put all this weight on them when it's... I feel like you could just have it be about the other characters in the show and more interesting.
That's definitely a critique I think I've heard before. Usually,
and like other people, I give people shit. I give people like I have writer friends. I give them shit for being like, maybe the protagonist is not as important actually. Like I guess honestly, being called a protagonist is probably hurting them more because it means they're like there's more weight on. You're giving them more things than they actually probably deserve.
Well, the protagonist is just the viewpoint character. That's an important thing to remember in technically the way fiction is written. Protagonist is just the character who is the proactive focal of the narrative. Usually they are the viewpoint character or a major viewpoint character who helps drive the narrative forward. And the antagonist is the character who stands in opposition to them.
I guess as I put it for you, it's just like You know Psyker, he's talking Ninja Story stuff. He's my friend of mine. I've known him since like fucking middle school, high school. I've known him for years. He writes and stuff. But I've always given him shit over the years of being like, I think because he's used to video games and I think like certain animes where it's just like the protagonist actually has to be super special, which is also something in some like Toku shows where it's like the protagonist has to be like the big special person. Where I feel like sometimes it makes it where sometimes you really just don't need to give them anything, and sometimes you should kick them in the fucking knees and be like, call it a day and be like, no, let other characters actually do more, because sometimes it's more interesting that way.
It depends on the writing. It depends on the writing. Talking about the difference between heroes and protagonists, I think in a lot of the Shonen Jump, Shonen boilerplate, we're gonna sell the most weekly manga copies to Japanese kids way, right? The hero, who is not always the protagonist, but they are usually the character who is relied on for the most action, but usually is the more basic character to be more of an everyman, to the point where even sometimes those things that resemble flaws can get sanded out. I think a lot of people miss some of the nuances in, say, for instance, Son Goku's characterization. But also, Goku is usually a little less dynamic than some of the side characters who have more interesting arcs, like, the reformed villains like Piccolo and Vegeta. Vegeta's like a piece of shit, but he has a much more interesting thing going on with his personal character.
I mean, TFS made a joke about it, made like a whole bit out of it, but like Vegeta always usually chose the worst option that self-benefited.
Yeah, I mean, it takes him until Boo to get over himself, basically. And like I said, I don't want to be that like Goku doesn't have interesting things going for him. He is speaking to the thing that Axe talked about, right? Where like the protagonist doesn't have to be special. Goku is kind of non-special despite being special.
Okay.
In that
now, I mean, it's not they should be special. I'm saying that more of you don't need to keep giving them special things when other people probably deserve.
Yes, actually, like that's the thing of like if you're building an ensemble. The beauty of the 5-man band and groups like that is you should actually spread out the love a little, because
it's also a problem in like certain like shows like Beyblade or other things where it's like they only let the protagonist win. They never let other people actually do their own stuff.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh has that problem too, where like deciding how to like.
They just never let anyone but like the protagonist or like a secondary lead character actually win duels.
And some of that is, like, obviously in the original manga, it's called Yu-Gi-Oh! He's Yugi-Moto, right? Like, it's supposed to be about Yugi and Atem.
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Speaking of games, I think, yeah.
Well, yeah, but, like, he also is, the protagonist is still called Yugi-Moto. It's, like, it's one of them double entendre things. Yeah,
pun names, yeah.
Kaz was doing layered meanings. But that is actually one central protagonist with a supporting cast of, friends, rivals, enemies, etc. Like, that is not necessarily the same, but I kind of feel like once they moved on from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga era adaptation, like, GX is a little more ensemble-y, and, like, Jaden is obviously the protagonist, and he literally has a superhero deck, which is, like, very protagonist-coded. But he's got a broader supporting cast, again, who have some very interesting things. The fucking, The Manjome Thunder is, like, way more dynamic than some of the stuff they put Jaden through in the early seasons. Now that Jaden doesn't get his licks in later. But, like, they add complexity later. 5Ds is, like, it should be more of an ensemble. There are supposed to be 5 dragons in the pro circuit. There's supposed to be, like, 3-man teams. Like, there's supposed to be a little more spread out stuff. And it does, from what I recall of the show and bits I've seen, Yusei is, like, a little more even keel. He is a little less flavorful than some of the other guys in order to kind of be the median point on the team. And,
like, he has some moments. It's just more of, like, a thing of, I just don't think he's as memorable, but I also think it's...
Like,
I'm weird where it's, like, I actually I didn't mind the kids because I thought they were interesting. I just kind of wish, like, if we took...
I don't know if people actually minded the...
I mean,
I
don't mind them
in
the
jokes about
overall,
the kids' sidekicks.
I feel like
I don't
in the
actually
end,
know
like,
if people hate...
they're like kind of whatever, but like I don't mind that. I just think like in like a fucking retrospective way, I think like if we just got rid, if Crow wasn't in the show, it probably would have better because probably focus on other.
I think most people
more.
agree with that. I'm trying to think like thinking about like iconic Yusei clips, and like Yusei has hype moments in aura to use a modern term.
When he does a fucking fighting game combo on that security guard.
That's pretty cool. Like he fights cops, that's cool. I like the conceptual ideals that Yusei represents as like my deck is literally made up of trash other people throw away, but we will collectivize and defeat the man. That's cool. I'm trying to think. I don't actually know how much that's like a personality type,
unfortunately, half his cards though are like. I also don't know how people threw away half his cards, like those cards he has, because like those cards were fucking good actually. Like fucking.
Well, some of them I think he actually maintained.
Actually, and Junk Warrior, those are good cards.
You know, it's thematics, scraps, junks, etc.
Speed Warrior isn't that great, but it's to stack up Junk Warrior. So like
he's trying. His whole thing was again, you take little guys, you synchro them into big guys, and then you become the moment. Like I said, I think he does some cool stuff in the show with some of his summons, but like as a character, I don't know. Whereas like some even in series that have their major flaws, there are some pretty cool moments like battling with your superpowered dark side stuff going on, and even like again, people complain about Zexal. I think that the protagonist of that has his moments where like he feels like he's a character, like he's a person.
Yuma is a character. He is also kind of a dumbass, but he's also the youngest character of the Rock, because I think he's actually like 12. Like, Yuki was like 15. Like, Yuki was like 14, 15, but like, he also had a literal ancient guy inside of him, so like, he was like 15. So he was like 16 then, I guess.
Was a first year, so he should be like 15 or 16 in
the point is, Yuma was like actively like 13. He was like actively a dumb
Zexal
kid.
was designed to be a little bit of an age down. Like, that's...
I don't think that can be argued. Because like Kite's whole thing was he was like 16, so he was like older than them by Host Emergent. And it was like everyone else was like 13, 14.
I remember, by the way, that means that Seto Kaiba
the point is,
like
Yuma though,
like a first year in high school.
He was like 15, and he looked like he was like 22.
To talk about like, listen, it's that billionaire money, okay? It made him taller, made him stronger.
It's also the fetish. It's also the weird battle fetish gear he wore.
Oh, you think the straps helped straighten out his spine? Maybe.
I mean, yeah, I don't think he ever could bend over.
I mean,
that shit.
Honestly, like I think Kaiba was.
He could run and do flips, but I don't think he'd bend.
Yugi was just short. Like his classmates, like
look at his
Tristan,
grandpa's
Honda
fucking
and
tiny.
Joey were like the.
He has his grandpa's genes of being fucking tiny.
That's true. I think Yugi's grandpa was always small. Like even in
the guy was only like 3 feet tall. Like he was literally a dwarf.
Anyway, sorry. I should have described what Vision Resonator does a while ago. This is another Dark Tuner level 2. 400. We got talking about it's okay.
I had fun because it's like whatever.
The
it's
chat's
like,
engaging.
No,
it's just like I just realized we've been sitting here for like 10 minutes on this guy. And we have a few. I have a few of these to work through.
Yeah, sure. My bad.
Vision Resonator is if a level 5 or higher dark monster is on the field, you can special summon it from your hand, making it really easy to synchro climb. You can only special summon Vision Resonator once per turn this way. If this card's sent to the graveyard, add a spell trap that mentions RDA from your deck to your hand. You can use this effect once per turn. So this basically is another great extender in your deck because it lets you synchro climb a lot easier because it works off level 5 or highers. And also, if it's sent to the graveyard, you get to add a spell trap that mentions RDA, of which, because this was the structure deck, there are several, which we will be talking about those later, because I'm pretty sure we also didn't do all the spell traps for RDA when we did a whole, 5, Dragons episode. So, they've only done one more of these guys in Blazing Dominion, out now. Oh yeah, this guy's not even in Master Duel. Luckily, I think I've got a high-res off the website that doesn't have the sample text all over it. But we've literally... Yeah, he's a little large, but you can see the detail. We've literally retrained Dark Resonator into Darkness Resonator. This, you can tell, it's been, 15 years.
And this is just the amped-up version of the original one.
Yes, this is Darkness Resonator. So
it's also resonating, so it is vibrate. It's also vibrating, so it's the same effect there. Yeah.
got the extra vibration. I mean, obviously he's got like antler horns now. Like his helmet's got some new fresh design. They added a swirling galaxy of darkness inside his ball. But it's very much just Dark Resonator, but modernized both in terms of use and design. So, this is, of course, a level 3 Dark Fiend tuner with 1300 attack and 300 defense, all the same stuff. You can reveal 1 RDA in your extra deck, special summon this card from your hand. You can't special summon from your extra deck this turn except Synchros, so only Synchro locking you. If this card's special, you can activate this effect during your main phase. You can normal summon a Resonator in addition to your normal summoner set. You can gain this effect once per turn. Target any number of tuners you control, change 3 levels to 1. You can use each effect once per turn. This is kind of a do-everything card. It's got a lot of great multi-layered effects, but this is a great addition. So this is a great starter because you can special summon it basically anytime. All you got to do is have an RDA in your extra deck. But also, it gives you an extra normal, which is really good for the several Resonators, which only proc when you normal summon them. And also, it lets you level fix to do the, double tuning stuff, which is good, because there's a new Supernova in this. Actually, technically, I think it's Hypernova is his name. Also, hold on, chat. I'm going to mute for a second to blow my nose. Didn't want to do that right into the mic. Okay. But yeah, so I don't think you did bother to play Dark Resonator in the deck these days anyway, like you had so many other good level 3s, but now you have a good level 3 Dark that's really easy to summon, helps extend your plays, and helps you set up several, combos and things. So that's pretty good where this actually showed up as part of the Resonator engine. And that's where we are right now. Like I said, this card came out technically weeks ago in the TCG. But we do also have some Resonator spell traps, some of which you may know. That's also why, I feel like to talk about Yusei's deck design a little, right? The Synchron versus Junk thing has been a problem for support before. Junk and Synchron are 2 separate archetypes which are checked, and there are various ways to utilize them. But the Resonators have been a little more design consistent, starting with Resonator Call, which was just Call Resonator in the OCG. This just has, actually, let me double check the trivia. Is this Dark Resonator's head? No, this is Force Resonator's head. Weird. This card gets way more play than Force Resonator. But this is a normal spell that just says add a Resonator from your deck to your hand. That's it. That's all it does.
Rhoda.
Yeah. No. Which is another great thing about this deck. They've had this card since Extreme Victory in 2011. As a rare, by the way. Actually, honestly, this card's only ever been printed as an Ultra in Ghost from the Past, which was an all-ulti set. This card is usually low rarity as hell, which is crazy good for an archetype like Resonators. So, we just straight up get to reset, or I just search a boy. That's great. Now, next, in actual Resonator spell traps, like I said, there are a few of them. Okay, now I think it says it's actually streaming. Slurp, glurp. Yeah, it says it's alive. Okay. Chat, be sure to say something if you can see the stream again. I apologize for that, because I'm pretty sure this will be in the VOD, because my voice is outgoing, but that was just OBS just stopped working after it disconnected. Sorry. It did not reconnect, and when I hit stop stream and start stream, it just wouldn't start streaming, so I had to close it and reopen it. But we appear to be back. What was I saying before? Yes, I was describing this card. This is Resonator Command. On its card art, it has some just random guys that Jack Atlas played, which are not directly related to anything, because that's just how decks worked back then. So it has Mad Archfiend, Ogre of Scarlet Sorrow, and Vice Berserker on it. Yeah, all of those are just like level 4 fiends, which Jack Atlas played, which are like good to combo in the deck. But don't. Some of them have been like Mad Archfiend's been retrained. Some of the others have not, but they don't really like. They don't necessarily directly synergize with the deck. There are better cards to play, some of which we'll talk about. But Resonator Command is a quick play spell card that says discard a Resonator, add a level 4 lower fiend from your deck to your hand. You can only act 1 per turn. It's basically reverse Resonator Call. But it can be helpful for the deck. And then back, because I listed these alphabetically, to old school support. Another normal spell that's very good for this deck, Resonator Engine, which features Flare, and is that the original Dark Resonator on there? Yes, I thought so. He's got the symbols. But yeah, Resonator Engine's a normal spell that just says target 2 Resonators in your graveyard. Add 1 level 4 from your deck to your hand. If you do, return those targets to the deck. So it just recycles 2 of your Resonators to add any level 4. I don't know if you play it these days. It was reprinted in the structure deck, but you could, because like you're gonna get some Resonators in your graveyard, and you get to add any level 4 monster. It does have to be exactly level 4, but there are a few of them in your deck. And then
it's like combo shots like this. It's just fun art.
Yeah, no, it's a cool art. I like this, and it kind of shows the idea. They're shooting up two double synchro to double tune, and they are clinking their things together. One of them has the tuning fork, one of them has the wand. Our next one, like I said, this is actually a Resonant, not a Resonator, but it is a Resonator card. This is Resonant Destruction. It shows Barrier Resonator on it. This is a continuous spell that says each time a Resonator is sent to the graveyard to synchro material, target a card your opponent calls, destroy it. Destroy this card during your second end phase after activation. Honestly, if this said Resonator Destruction, so it was searchable, this card would be probably relevant today, like as a sideboard piece.
Yeah, because it's like, even if it dies out 2 turns afterwards, in most times, you probably only need it for 2 turns anyway. And
yeah.
You use like 3, and basically does it trigger each time, or is it like only?
Yes, it is not a once per turn. Each time a Resonator monster is sent to the graveyard to synchro material.
Okay, so what happens if you send 3 at once?
At once, because it's parentheses S, that's only target 1 destroy, because it's got a full colon, so it's a trigger effect.
Okay, so
but
it's.
If
but I guess
synchro
you
climb through multiple cases where you keep using Resonators,
board,
yeah, you can pick apart a lot of boards. It is targeting, and like I said, it's not searchable, but like for a card that originally came out in 2011...
okay, weird question. Would it chain immediately after summon of the synchro monster? Could you use a chain block?
Yes. This is... No, I don't think you can chain block this. This is mandatory.
Damn.
It says each time a Resonator.
I know. I'm saying is like, could you use the chain block protect a synchro monster?
Yeah, actually, I think you could. I think you could use this to. You could use this effect to chain block. This is, I believe, mandatory. It says each time a Resonator, you have to target a card your opponent controls. So like technically,
actually, it's not bad.
Could cause you problems. Like if your opponent's on something
it's just not reliably obtainable.
No, it's not searchable, and I don't know if you'd want to run 3 of it in a deck normally. But like,
no,
if you're playing
like
RDA,
you run the side. This is like a 2 you run the sideboard.
Yeah, I would say consider putting it in your side deck today, just because like it does give you cards to pick apart.
And like, if the rest of your deck is searchable, you could probably play 2 cards that aren't as searchable.
Yeah, and like If your opponent wants to spend removal on getting Resonant Destruction off your board so they don't get picked apart, that's good. This is a way less important card for your opponent to interact with than other cards you've got going on.
Like, this is a plus card, but I'll be real with you. In Yu-Gi-Oh, a plus card's not a bad thing to do in a deck, or like most synchro decks, where you can reliably get like all the pieces of your combo, because you're not really because half the point of synchroing is you combo to do 3 other combos, you know?
Yeah, no, like synchros are very combo heavy decks because of the way they work. And yeah, no, like your deck is inherently super searchable. All your Resonators are searchable with Resonator Call. Any of your level 4s exactly can be searchable with Resonator Command. Chad does bring
and
up
if you're playing the red cards,
level,
you can get like I forget the name of this, like the weird like the red lion creature, like the.
There's Red Warg, there's Red Sprinter, there's a lot of reds actually.
Red Warg.
We'll talk about
Red Warg.
it.
I think Red Warg is what I'm thinking about, where you search the other red cards. I think with that.
Yeah, there are a lot of cards which search back and forth. So like, there's room for these. But now we're gonna move on to some of the older school RDA support traps and spells, which kind of weave back and forth between Resonator and RDA that we probably didn't talk about in previous episodes. Won't be at length because a lot of them are old and bad, but we'll mention a few of them. They've always had some interesting spell trap support. First, just alphabetically, Crimson Fire. This is a counter trap. It was named Crimson Hellflare, so I'm sure it's like an attack name. Yeah, this was Red Dragon Archfiend's attack name in the anime. This is a counter trap that just says when your opponent activates a spell trap that would damage you and you control RDA, your opponent takes twice the effect damage instead. Anime-ass, stupid-ass anime card. Not worth playing today, especially since they changed the time rules, but very funny that this, this is such an anime effect where effect damage is so much more important to have a double it and pass it to the next person.
Listen, effect damage is the equivalent of getting punched in the face in a fight in a shown battle series, essentially.
I mean, yeah, it heightens the stakes without having to actually think about, like, they summon a big enough guy to beat up Red Dragon Archfiend, Like, you get to play around with it. Again, not a good card to play these days, but very funny in concept. A card that you might still play to these days, a iconic staple card for many years, and is actually directly related to Jack Atlas. Fiendish Chain, which if you didn't know, in the OCG is Demon's Chain.
Really good. Such a good card.
Yeah. Also, killer art.
I've always wondered like what the whole Occult Circle art was.
No, this is the original one. This was from Absolute Power Force originally, so this is from the 5Ds era, but it's just a little gargoyle guy in a circle of fire, covered in chains. It's great. Like, you want to talk about invoking that old school Yu-Gi-Oh feel? Like, yeah.
Damn good.
No. And if for some reason you don't know what Fiendish Chain does, it's a continuous trap that says, activate this card by targeting an effect monster on the field. Negate the effects of that face-up monster while it's on the field. Also, it can't attack. When it is destroyed, destroy this card. That's it. Simple as. Very similar to cards like, Spellbinding Circle and cards that did exist, but just target an effect monster, negate it, it can't attack. That's it. But this was one of Jack Atlas's iconic staples and is thus a card that is in rotation in this deck. There is one of the cards that's newer that we're not going to talk about because it was revealed in the Overframe sets, but they did a red, I think it's either red Archfiends or red Archfiend Dragons. Like, I don't remember if there's dragon in it or not, but they did a card which is literally RDA's chain. Like, that's how important this is. Next, this card's from a little later, but it is the name of a guy who at least previously did Yu-Gi-Oh content. I think he's still rattling around. King Scarlet. This is there's literally a card that's named Kingu Scarletto because it's about Jack Atlas.
Crimson King, yeah.
But this is a continuous trap that says, if an RDA you control battles, sorry, Red Dragon Archfiend monster battles, not just Red Dragon Archfiend itself, so this includes some other cards. During damage calc, make that monster you control unable to destroy with that battle. If you do special summon this card as a normal monster, a level 1 Fiend Fire Tuner. This card is still a trap card. This card came out in 2016 originally. For that period, a, like, shape sister, you know, continuous trap tuner. Good. These days, way too slow because it has to be your RDA has to battle, and then you also become immune to being destroyed by the battle, but then also you special summon this as a tuner continuous. It's like way too finicky, but very revolutionary to include in any format a trap tuner, basically. Like, very good. Yes, also chat brings up a good point about Fiendish Chain that I was going to mention but didn't, which is, yeah. It only says destroyed. It is like those old school, some of those old school trap cards. It's like Call of the Haunted. It is stuck in your zone, so there are some retrains. There are several levels of retrain, one of which we will talk about Fiendish Golem later. Speaking, though, about cards that have our boys on them, this next one is called Red Carpet. It's a pun in English, but not in the OCG because... it's called Scarred Carpet, because the OCG has this thing with the naming of Jack Atlas where they, like, I think, for instance, he is King Scarlet because they do this pun with, like, Scar and, like, Scarlet, and also Scar as in you have a scar. That one doesn't play to me in English, but, you know, I'm sure it seems cool. But Red Carpet is a way better pun than Scarred Carpet.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I get it. Yeah, it's. I think it's supposed to be Scarlet, but also it's pronounced Scarredo. Sorry, I couldn't say the double D. It's not a T. It's a reddo. So it's like scarred, but also scar red. You know, like it's that kind of pun.
Yeah.
That doesn't scan as easily in English because of syllables. Anyway, this is another card that is technically more of a Resonator card than a Red Dragon card, but you can see that it's got Red Nova Dragon in the background there because this is the way you make Red Nova Dragon back in the day. This is a normal trap that says if you control it, if a Dragon type Synchro's on the field, target 2 Resonators in your graveyard, special them. So this is just how you summon 2 tuners so you can make Red Nova. Again, you have way better ways to do that in the deck today, but very classy card. Next. God, sorry, this is just such a weird card art. So this is Red Cocoon. Now, for some reason, the wiki calls out, because even though it's pronounced Scarredo, this has a hyphen in the translation. Scar Red Cocoon, not Scarred Cocoon. Anyway, Red Cocoon. Fucking berserk ass looking card art. Like, you want to talk about old school Yu-Gi-Oh inspiration? What the fuck is going on here? What the helly? Yeah. No. Sorry, I'm reminding myself which card this is. Effect. This is a normal trap that says target a Dragon Synchro you control, equip this card to it while it's battling an opponent's monster during the end of the damage step, sorry. Negate all effects of face-up monster your opponent controls. During the end phase, if this card's in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, target RDA in your graveyard, special summon it. This is another card that, like, this was a High-Speed Raiders card, so 2015. This is another card that, like, obviously is a little too slow these days because you have to set the trap and then you flip it up and equip it to your Red Dragon, etc. But, like, negate all face-up monsters your opponent controls, you know, until the end of the damage step. Not even negate their effects, just negate them, period. Very strong. But also, during the end phase of this card sent there, get RDA back. That can be pretty powerful. So this is another card that was like very strong in 2015. Now it's probably a little too slow, but could be very stonks.
Yeah.
I mentioned it before that RDA was good on the crackback, but I should probably point out to chat if they don't know about how the basic deck works. Red Dragon Archfiend has some going first plays, but traditionally it is a deck that is... These days they've gotten better about building it so you can go first. You have red dragons that are able to stick around and like not like interact with your opponent in better ways than summoning King Calamity on your opponent's turn. But classically it's been a go second deck where you just build bigger and bigger guys that stop your opponent from actually interacting with them and just beat face. Anyway, this next card is arguably is mistranslated, but Konami never gave a shit. It's called Red Dragon Vase, or Red Dragon Vase if you're classy. This should probably be called Pot of Red Dragon. Its name in Japanese is Guren Mario no Tsubo, so Pot of the Crimson Devil Dragon. It should be called a pot card because this is a pot card. This is a normal spell that says if you control RDA, draw 2. You can't normal or special the turn you activate this card until the end of your opponent's turn after you activate it. So, like, this is peak Pot of Greed is too good. So, like, you'd never play this card because it locks you out of normaling and specialing until the end of your opponent's following turn. But it is Pot of Greed. It is literally Pot of Greed if you control RDA. So, like I said, this is a card that probably is mistranslated. Looks cool, though.
It's funny that works out.
What? And it says appearances, so is this the anime or manga? No, this wasn't the anime. Sorry, it's just a weird one. Our next card is called Red Screen. The reason why I'm muttering to myself, building my conspiracy board, is you'll notice on the artwork this has Caius the Shadow Monarch on it.
Oh.
And like, I don't know why, because in the anime, Jack Atlas used this against what they call the Familiar of Red Nova, the guy that represents Red Nova, which is supposed to be, the
Literally
big,
like basically
the big, South American god guy, alien. So I don't have any idea what Caius has to do with it.
Honestly, now more I think about it, Red Devil was kind of a bit like a fucking like one of the fucking directions of Tez, because there's like to be like the Destroyer, Conqueror, Tyrant.
Possibly. I mean,
or at least that kind of vibe.
The Nazca civilization's a little farther south, but there is some syncretism and overlap between various.
Or just like he was meant to be like the anime style evil god king, which is also just a thing.
Yeah. I'll say this for Japan. Japan has correctly recognized that Mesoamerican and South American like histories, mythologies, and religions are really fucking metal, and they actually usually go, damn, that's crazy. Whereas in America, we've forgotten about a lot of that, except for all the heart sacrifice.
Honestly, it'd be really funny to me if we ever did it. If someone ever made a Trans Crusade setting, but it's just Mesoamerican lore, so it's even more fucked.
Oh my god, that would be fucking scary.
Because it's basically this. It's like the same thing. It's like Spanish Catholicism, which is just the Blasphemous game, which is basically Trans Crusade, but even more Dark Souls-y. Because that's what Blasphemous is. It's just Trans Crusade, but the Spanish Christianity. So it's literally about the suffering. It's inherently about suffering.
But yeah, Red Screen's sorry, go ahead.
If you're curious what this Blasphemous is about, it's literally like what if like Spanish Christianity, like the idea of Christianity based off the idea that everyone's meant to suffer is real. So everyone literally starts suffering based off literally their guilt.
That sounds like a
That's what Blasphemous is about.
Souls-like
I don't know what
sort of
Blasphemous 2 is
game,
about, but it's basically because there's basically like a fucking god. There's a whole thing about multiple gods and shit now too. But that's a different thing.
Yeah, I don't know much about Blasphemous. So like I said, I also don't know why Caius is in red screen. But red screen is a continuous trap card that says your opponent's monsters can't declare attacks during each of your end phases. You must pay 1,000 LP. This is not optional, or this card is destroyed. You can target a level 1 tuner in your graveyard if you do destroy this card, if you do special summon that target. You must have RDA on the field to activate and resolve this effect. So this is an RDA card that is linked to tuners and therefore probably to resonators, but it also has a weird, like, mirror wall type effect built in. So this may just be a case where, like, this didn't actually need you to have RDA on the field to activate the effect. It just so happens that Jack Atlas used this card, and they made an RDA card in paper for some reason. I don't know. But it's a fucking weird one. Next up, we got another red trap that's fairly newer, though hasn't been reprinted a lot. I don't know why exactly. Well, probably because it's got a little bit of an awkward naming, but this card is called Red Supremacy. It features Hot Red Dragon Archfiend and Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity on it. And this is a normal trap that just says, banish an RDA Synchro monster from your graveyard, target an RDA Synchro monster you control, its name becomes the banished monster's original name, and replace its effects with the banished monster's effects. This became way less important as the deck evolved, but I literally just mentioned it's Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, and it's Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity, so, like, you can see kind of the idea.
Yeah.
But it's not a super good card, so it hasn't been printed a lot, and I think the naming convention of the cards has gotten away from using this sort of thing. Next, this is another weird card. I feel like 5Ds was really the era. Like, there were a couple of cards like this in GX, but 5Ds was the era of basically, like, giving you archetypal copies of old staples that are banned. Like, you know, I just mentioned, you know, they had Red Dragon's Pot, basically, you know, and stuff like that. This is that also. This is Harpy's Feather Duster, but only if you have RDA. This is Scarlet Security, whose name is, like, way less grammatically sound, but way cooler in the OCG, where it's Crimson Hell Secure.
Honestly, they gotta do more. My benchmark of, like, how they gotta do, like, cards that require very specific cards, very card monsters to be around to do them. Think fucking Tachyon Transmigration. Really good card. Requires a very specific thing.
Yeah.
I think that makes it worth it.
Yeah,
I feel like sometimes you have to balance the effect by the cost, and it's like, I feel like they don't.
In the 5Ds era, because this is another, like, old school card, you know, originally came out in 2011 in Extreme Victory. This was probably a good card because I think they'd finally gotten around to, well, people can fact check me in chat. I don't know exactly when Heavy Storm was banned, but I think it was around that period. And Feather Duster had been banned for a very, very long time. So this is a normal spell that just says, if you control RDA, destroy all spell and traps your opponent controls. So it's just Feather Duster, but only if you control RDA. In 2011, that was probably good enough to play. Like, back row would be so, you know, workable that, like, or so complicated that it might be worth it to just blow their ass up. You know, don't have to worry about Scrap Iron Scarecrow, don't have to worry about being Magic Cylindered, don't have to worry about, you know, or rather, you would force your opponent, if they didn't already, to use something like Karma Cut, Compulse, etc. Don't gotta worry about D-Prison. And also, obviously, I think the art here is referencing, you know, another use for it, which is it's blowing up floodgates because it's destroying Swords Revealing Light and Burden of the Mighty. And yes, this is searchable because it mentions RDA. So this is a card you can search right now. I think in modern times you wouldn't play this because if you're going second and you need to blow up your opponent's board, you just load up on Lightning Storms and play one Feather Duster. But again, for like 2011, not a terrible card.
Yeah.
And now, sorry, I had to double check why this card is called this. We have a very interesting trap card. This is called Time to Stand Up. This is from a anime episode where there was a fake Jack Atlas.
Oh.
Who had 3 RDAs. It's and you can see they were, they had a blue tinge, a yellow tinge, and a red tinge. This was the time when Jack summoned, which Majestic was it? Is it just called Red Majestic? Yes, Majestic Red Dragon. And, got him blown up. So that episode in English was called Will the Real Jack Atlas Please Stand Up? Because of course it was. The Japanese name of this is called The Great Soul Oinaru Tamashi, because that was the summon chant of Majestic Red Dragon. The Great Soul, save your Demon Dragon. Oinaru Tamashi, save a Demon Dragon. So, it's references all the way around. This is a normal trap that says if you control a Dragon Synchro... Sorry, if a Dragon Synchro is on the field, special summon 2 monsters that are Resonators and or level 1 dragons from your deck. When a monster effect is activated, while you control level 10 or higher Dark Dragon Synchro, banish this card and negate that effect. If you do, 1 Synchro gains 2,000 attack. You can only use each effect once per turn. So this is to set up the anime scene that it's taking from. But it's still a decent card because it basically lets you fish out the, Red Dragon, Majestic Red Dragon and stuff out of your deck to set up. Or Majestic Dragon out of your deck to set up. I think the reason why you don't play it is because it's a trap card. You might still play this and, bin it. If you can Foolish this, that's great. Because it's just, if you control level 10 or higher Dark Dragon Synchro, you can negate a monster effect and gain 2,000 attack. That's pretty good. I think just getting it into your graveyard is tough. But, let us talk about the Reds. The Dirty Reds. Because there are a whole bunch of them. These, I think I don't have in any particular order. Other than that I have the stuff that has come out since, the Structure deck and Blazing Dominion in a second blob. So, first, alphabetically, I talk about Chaotic in the Tread Games channel on our Discord. Join our Discord now. First, we have a Red Familiar. Scar Red Familiar. Which is just the guy I mentioned that was in the anime. The Familiar of Red Nova. This guy works for Red Nova. He's made of fire. He's otherwise vaguely South American. But this is a level 4 Dark Fiend, 1600 attack, 0 defense. You contribute 1 Fiend, target a Dark Dragon Synchro in your graveyard, special summon a defense position, but negates effects. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Dark Dragon Synchro you control, and declare a level from 1 to 8. That monster becomes that level until the end of the turn. You can use each effect once per turn. Red Familiar was part of the 2020 wave of support. I think it's okay. It does stuff that the deck wanted. I feel like it's less important now that they've gotten more support. It is still a level 4 Dark Fiend in this deck, so, you might play this as your premier level 4, but I think there are better ones. Next, we have a much older card and a much simpler card. Well, not that much older. This card's about 10 years old now, but it was part of the 2016 support in Dark Illusion. Red Gardener. There's not a lot to say about the card art. It's a Gardener, which is a recurring word in Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is just...
Guardian.
Yeah.
But not Guardian in the same...
No,
or
because
like
it is
it's like
again,
shield.
this card in
like
Japanese
shielder.
is literally Reddo Gadona. So, like, Gardener, is just, like, a word they used. It was probably something that Kaz thought was cool to use for, like, Big Shield Gardener in, like, the manga, and then just Konami is like, well, fuck it, we have to keep printing Gardeners.
I thought it was like Gardner. Yeah. It was like Big Shield Gardeners originally.
Well, it is. That guy's name in both the OCG and TCG is Gardner. There's no on it, and Garden.
Oh, okay.
Guard.
On it. That was probably his name then.
Yeah.
As in, like,
I mean,
name.
it's Gardner. That sounds good. I think Gardner might be a real name in some like Germanic languages because guard is a word that means a lot of different things. Anyway, Red Gardener is a level 4 Fire Fiend, 0 attack, 2000 defense. During either player's turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a RDA monster, send this card from your hand to the graveyard. This turn, your monsters can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Again, in 2016, phenomenal card. Amazing card. To just be like, you make an RDA, and then just, you can make it so they're not destroyed, and it has synergy with the other guys, like Hot Red Dragon Archfiend and shit like that. Scar Red Dragon Archfiend. You know, that's cool. These days, again, it's got a weird hand trap effect. You know, you have other ways of protecting your boys. But it is a level 4 fiend, so you might still play it in some combination. I gotta actually probably look up, like, what deck lists are running these days. Because I presume you want some level 4s and level 5s, but that was always the tricky part, is that, you know, a level 3 Resonator plus a level 4... doesn't make RDA, but a level 2 plus a level 4 is a 6, which does make one of your 2 guys you need. Anyway, this is Red Mirror. It is an object. A thing. A thingy. I don't even know if you really call it a device. It's just, you know, fire. Sorry, stifling you on there, chat. Level 1, Fire Fiend, 0/0. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, send this card from your hand to graveyard. Target a Fire Fiend in your graveyard except Red Mirror. Add it to your hand. If you sync or summon all those cards in your graveyard, you can add it to your hand. It goes each effect once per turn. It's another 2016 card. This is not, was already not a super good card. Lets you recycle a Fire Fiend from your graveyard when your opponent attacks, but doesn't let you summon it, and then it comes back when you synchro. And doesn't really seem that good. Like, the deck has recursion, but you probably don't need to be doing that. Like, you can recur in other ways.
Yeah.
You could use Resonator Engine. Just, you know, shuffle back 2 Resonators to add a level 4. Next, we've got a very funny card that you might actually have seen out and about. It took a while for them to print this, but it is actually, you know, a card that has some decent synergy here. This is Red Nova. And Red Nova basically has the same, you know, purpose as Stardust Xiaolong, which is just to set up the Majestic Dragon play. This is a Fire Fairy tuna. It shares Red Dragon Nova's name. I don't really know what else is supposed to be going on with, like, the... There's nothing commented on the trivia page about the art design for Red Nova. Just, this is the card that's supposed to set up Red Nova Dragon. I'll explain why you maybe have seen this card recently in a second, but this is a level 1 Fire Fairy Tuner 0/0. If a level 8 or higher Dragon Sinker's on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can special summon Red Nova once per turn this way. If this card is sent to the graveyard for a Synchro summon that uses 2 or more tuners as material, special summon 1 Fire Fiend from your deck in defense position. That effect is why you have seen this card lately, if you have seen it. It's been cut in a few modern decks, but this was a level 1 tuner that Tune was playing in some combos because Rekko is a Fire Fiend that adds, you know, a non-level 3 cool tune back when you summon it, and because it just requires you to use 2 or more tuners, all the cool tunes are 2 tuners, so you could really easily use it. These days, you cut it because you have other really good cards to play in your deck, you know, Q, Rotary, etc., so you don't need it. But it was the funniest thing you could be playing in Cool Tune for a while.
Funny.
I'm fairly certain that with the new support, you have absolutely no reason to play this in Red Dragon decks. Like, you could because you do still have some double synchro abilities, but I think you have better setup. Like, you have better cards that do that. Oh my god, sorry, I forgot about this guy's fucking hands. Red Sprinter. You'll see why I'm wincing in a second, chat. People make jokes about yaoi hands. This guy got the yaoi hands. But Red Sprinter is from 2015. This was in High Speed Riders. So this is when they, you know, were doing Arc 5, and they kind of had some idea for some synergy. I do not like his card art, but this is a good card. And honestly, you might still play Red Sprinter. Fire Fiend level 4, 1700 attack, 1200 defense. When this card is normal or special while you control no other monsters, so it is a when, so watch out. But you can special summon a level for your lower Fiend Tuner from your hand or graveyard. You can use this effect once per turn. On normal or special, just so long as you don't have any other guys, that's workable. That gets you into a Sync 7 range. Or 6. Or 5. 3 or lower. But I don't like his hands. I don't like his hands, gang. And I don't know why he's called Red Sprinter, because I feel like he should be called Red Grabber, because his feet are real fucked up, too. The wiki thinks it might be a reference to the Jersey Devil, but I don't know about that.
I don't know, it's something.
Could be. Next, a card which I'm pretty sure is both better and also... yeah, Red Gripper. The Red Grabber. Yeah, for 2015, a great starter. These days, I'm like, I think it's less good because you have other ways to be summoning out, but it's also like, I don't know, though. Your normal summon can be a little weird, but our next guy is like... definitely a better combo. This is a 2016 guy, so he's from that same like Arc 5 wave. But you mentioned him earlier, I believe, Axe. Red Warg. Red Warg looking like a werewolf on fire.
Bit kind of wrestling-like, but I think it's just the
yes, that's what I was going to say. The wrestling could be that. That's also kind of, I think, supposed to be, you know, South American, too, with some of the designs, but he does look a little bit like a wrestler, which I think also works. Because he's got, like, the mask and stuff. Anyway, this is a level 6 Fire Fiend, 1400 attack, 22 defense. And he just says when you normal summon a Resonator, special summon this card from your hand, but its attack is halved. Not its defense, mind you, its attack. This is a great card. Like, given all the... first of all, Darkness Resonator these days lets you get an extra normal summon of a Resonator. And also, you can special him. but also, like, you still have 2s in this deck. This is still a great card to just, anytime you normal a Resonator, you can summon this guy out. And I did mention that you know, the RDA Resonator Red deck can have a problem with getting your level combos right. Well, you know, 6 into a 2, or a 2 into a 6, technically. That gets you to 8 right away. Leaves you room for 7. Like, there's utility here that I think is still reasonable. But I think the better 4 is our next guy. Because I've seen him rattling around. And actually, I should double check, when did this come out? I think this didn't... Yeah, this was actually from Duelist Saga in 2017. He was just a real tough card to get for a little bit. Our next guy had some very high-rarity printings until they actually put him in the structure deck. But it's Wandering King Wildwind, who is also very, you know, South American, Mesoamerican kind of a thing. But yeah,
Panther Warrior.
Yeah, he is also very Panther Warrior. This guy's a classic. Dark Fiend, level 4. Yes, this is a Fiend. This is a demon, not a Beast Warrior. But level 4 Dark Fiend, 1700 attack, 1300 defense. If you control a Fiend Tuner with 1500 or less attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. If special summon this way, you can't special summon the extra deck this turn except Synchros. 2017 card, by the way. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, banish this card from your graveyard, add a Fiend Tuner with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. So, remember I said you could hypothetically still play Red Sprinter as your 4? I think you don't need to bother because this guy is printed in the structure deck and he's a pretty common guy. This is your great, like your great, you know, wombo combo guy of a 4. He's searchable several ways. He works with your resonators without necessarily relying on them. Just you need, you know, Fiend Tuners with 1500 or less. Also, chat, you brought up a great point talking about where's my wheel synchron. That would be interesting if you had a level 5 resonator who could be treated as a non-tuner. I think you could do something with that. Resonators, I think, have gone other ways because, whatchamacallit, they're about, like, double synchroing, so they need, you know, tuners and non-tuners, and they've come up with a few different ways to get them out there. But let's talk about... Oh, shit. Sorry, the alert was on my end. It's just when it plays that alert, I know that I've accidentally hit save as, not copy image. Okay. Sorry about that, chat. But the red synchros, which we may have mentioned before, but I want to mention now because they are explicitly intertwined with the resonators as an archetype. They added a couple of extra synchro boys. Wow, have you cut Wildwind entirely? That's a little crazy. That guy was pretty good, but they made him cheap. You may have. I mean, there's a lot of extra support. We'll talk about it in a second. But this is Red Rising Dragon. This is a level 6 Dark Dragon Synchro. 2100 attack, 1600 defense. 1 Fiend Tuner, 1 or more non-tuner monsters. When this card is Synchro summoned, target a Resonator in your graveyard, special summon it. You can't special summon from the extra deck except Dark Dragon Synchros. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, banish this card from your graveyard, target 2 level 1 Resonators, special summon both. This card is like one of your key combo starters. This is a fairly late card because it was 2019 in Savage Strike, but they reprinted it in the structure deck, giving it an ultra rare glow up, by the way. This is a phenomenal card for the deck because, as mentioned, 2/4, a little easier to do than 5/3 for 8. But if you use a level 2 Resonator to set this up, you instantly set up to go into an 8 by Axel Synchroing. But you could also hypothetically go into a 9 if you needed to, and various other setups. And also its Banish effect lets you target 2 level 1 Resonators to set up going into your double Synchro. Sorry, I mean, it makes sense saying that, like, Wildwind is just, like, not... You've got so many other free summons you can do, but that is a little funny that that guy was, like, felt like such a premium piece of support. You know, they finally reprinted him. Everybody gets one for free in the structure deck, and then they're just like, nah, homie. He's gone. We don't need him anymore. But Red Rising Dragon is a crazy good card. Like, it's a little finicky because it really wants you to play Resonators, and it needs you to use Fiend Tuners, but this boy's great. Great setup, because the levels are a little weird. Speaking of other weird levels, you do have one more guy that I wanted to mention because he is vaguely related. But your other 6 option, and I think he came out a little earlier. I think Red Wyvern is from, High Speed Riders. Red Wyvern was their first crack at this, your other level 6. And while Red Wyvern is a really good card, you can see the very much difference in the design. Red Wyvern is a Fire Dragon synchro, so a lot of your Dark Locks lock you out of Red Wyvern. But he is a level 6 synchro with 2400 attack and 2k defense, and he's completely generic. So he's showed up in some other decks. I know for sure this showed up in several synchro decks when we were playing Prague. During either player's turn, if a monster with higher attack than the synchro summon card is on the field, you can destroy one face-up monster on the field that has the highest attack. This effect can only be used once while this card's face-up on the field, but it's a quick effect pop. It was very interesting for 2016, but like I said, this is a Fire Dragon synchro. Your other guys, like, are Darks, so you have a Dark Lock, but this is one of the classic level 6 synchros, and arguably, like, until they gave them some truly good going first tech, this was still probably a very good card to play for a very long number of years, just because it is actually an interruption, right? Like, this actually does something to blow up the highest attack monster on the field. Which other, the deck struggles with going first plays, or historically did. Nowadays, they've got some better stuff. So let's talk about the monsters that they added in the structure deck and in Blazing Dominion. First, I did mention that he got a retrain because there was Mad Archfiend, aka Mad Daemon. Now we have Bone Archfiend, Bone Daemon. It's a retrain of Mad Archfiend. Once again, very Mesoamerican, specifically, I want to say, with his, cow skull and skulls on skulls.
Yeah, I like it.
And he's exploding out of a skull. But the way his shadow face is drawn is similar to a Resonator, which I think is a good touch. So what we need now is we need a retrain of Vice Berserker, and we need a retrain of Ogre of Scarlet Tears or whatever. Scarlet Sorrow, sorry. He had a really poetic name. Anyway, Bone Archfiend was released in Structure Deck, the Crimson King. He is now for sure like one of your guaranteed level 4s, one of your normal summons you got in there, but also you can special him. Level 4 Dark Fiend, 1800 attack, 0 defense, and this is where I say you can probably still play, Resonator Command, just in case you needed to search a level 4 starter. If this card's in your hand or graveyard, you can send another card from your hand or field to the graveyard, special summon it, but you can't special summon the extra deck except Dark Dragon Synchros. So just Diabell Star-ass summoning condition, free summon basically. Take a face-up monster, you control it as a level, send a Fiend Tuner from your deck to your graveyard. If you do increase or decrease the level of that monster by 1, you can use each effect by Bone Archfiend once per turn. That's right, baby! This lets you Foolish Burial one of your fucking Resonators to turn your level 3 Resonator into a level 4, so you can just make Red Dragon Archfiend. Or one of your other very good level 8 Synchros. This card's phenomenal. This is a phenomenal piece of support. Like, everything about this is good. Effectively a free special summon. Does require you to go -1. But he does also summon himself out of the graveyard later if you need a comeback. And then his effect is you get to Unizombie one of your guys by sending a Fiend Tuner. You get to Foolish one of your Resonators to level fix. That's crazy good. Yeah. I mean, he can be a normal summon. Because that's the thing. We talked about it earlier, but they added Darkness Resonator. So, like, that's another free special summon that gives you an extra normal summon of a Resonator. So, like, if you had a grip of 5 cards you don't want to get rid of, you can just normal Bone Archfiend now. But he's also a intrinsically easy special summon. But he is normal summonable. He is searchable in this deck. He's a pretty funny little guy. Now, alphabetically, we have to talk about him, even though I think he's not really a good fit for Red Dragon decks, but you can play him. It's the funniest technical member of this archetype. It's the Earthbound Immortal Red Nova.
Oh, yeah. The one lineup that actually has only the opposed to Jack.
So yeah, this is the Earthbound Immortal guy who, you know, works together. So the Red Nova, the character, is supposed to be the strongest Earthbound Immortal. He is the one who fights the Crimson Dragon. He is also a little unique in that he is actually an Earthbound Immortal. So he's like represented by a Nazca line. It's just that his Nazca line is the snake, and he looks like a freaky demon guy. But yeah, this is the Earthbound Immortal that I think was like, you know, supposed to be named for some stuff, but also has some things going on, and is the kind of one where, yeah, that's right. He's supposed to be the strongest Earthbound Immortal. He's not, as far as I recall, I don't think he's directly related to a Dark Signer. He's just, you know, the big bad googly guy. But Jack Atlas does turn him into a card. And not this card. Well, maybe this card, technically, but not directly. Because I think he's supposed to be the small Red Nova card. Not the big Red Nova card. Anyway. But this guy's a little unique for Earthbound Immortals because he doesn't have a word in... His name is not in Quechua. Quechua? I don't know if I'm saying the Quechuan language correctly. It doesn't have a lot of the other effects. Like, this is a weird bridge card they put together because this was technically a thing in the anime, but it wasn't a card yet. But it does name check RDA, so, like, we have to mention him now. This is a level 12 Dark Fiend, 3,500 attack, 3k defense. There can only be one Earthbound Immortal monster on the field. During the main phase, quick effect, banish this card from your hand or graveyard, send one Earthbound Immortal monster or Red Dragon Archfiend from your hand or face-up monster zone to the graveyard, then apply one of these effects. Special summon an Earthbound monster from your deck or extra deck. Special summon Red Nova Dragon from your extra deck. This is treated as a synchro summon. You can only use the effect of Earthbound Immortal Red Nova once per turn. So, basically, this is supposed to be kind of a way to cheat Red Nova Dragon out because that's a thing that Jack did in the anime. I am pretty
Red Nova is
sure...
like kind of annoying to get into, but like I think it's easy now. You can just sack a fuck ton of Resonators.
Oh yeah, no. These days, Red Nova Dragon's way easier to get into. That was what I was about to say. Red Nova Dragon's requirements, because it's not a Majestic Dragon, is just 2 tuners plus RDA to make a 12. So you need 8/2/2. Or 8/3/1. That's real easy to do in this deck now.
I think it means you just need Red Nova, I think, plus one of the Resonators is easy for like Flare or like it's like what's like the retrain of Dark Resonator again? Dude?
Darkness Resonator.
What's that one do again?
He special summons himself by revealing RDA.
Okay, you just play Darkness Resonator plus Red Nova, I guess.
Yeah. No. And there's dozens of level 1 tuners in this deck you can pick from. So, like, if you want to make Red Nova Dragon, you can just make Red Nova Dragon. You don't need this.
I mean, I think you do. I mean, can't you just hit for game with Red Nova anyway? Or no?
Possibly.
It's like 45.
Let's see. Red Nova Dragon can be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Lets you banish itself to negate an opponent's attack. And then special summoned. But it's 3,500, but it gains 500 attack for each tuner in graveyard, of which there are at least 2. So yeah, that's why it's always at least 45. But
and if you're doing
honestly,
it right,
in this deck,
you
could be bigger.
probably at least have like 6 tuners engraved by that point, so you're hitting.
So like, you don't need Earthbound Immortal Red Nova to cheat out Red Nova Dragon.
No, you want more synchros in the grave anyway. So it's like, I guess that's what your Resonator call, where you sacrifice a Resonator to go to the grave to get 2 more Resonators.
But we mentioned him
Where's your
earlier,
endgame? Yeah.
and I did not bring up the guys they used to be because it didn't matter. But like I said, we got some more support of some more boys in Blazing Dominion. So, and again, not even in Master Duel yet. First, Fiend Peace Golem. Shrink him down a little. It's the Peace Golems, but combined with
Demon
Fiendish
Juice.
Chain, basically.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's cool.
No, it's cool because like the boys, Big Peace Golem, I believe specifically, was one of the cards that Jack used to. Because Big Peace Golem is just a Cyber Dragon, basically. It's one of the cards that Jack used often to make RDA. So, Fiend Peace Golem is a level 5 Dark Fiend, 2100 attack, 0 defense. If you control a Fiend Tuner and this card's in your hand, you can special summon it. If it's special summoned, you can reduce its level by up to 2. That's right, this guy is a level 5, so you can just make RDA, but also you can level fix him to be 4 or 3 if you need him to. If this card's in the graveyard, a
Make it
synchro
6 or
material
7.
for Red Dragon Archfiend or a synchro monster that mentions it. Target level 4 or lower fiend in your graveyard, special summon a defense position. You can use each effective Fiend Peace Golem once per turn. Again, this deck for a long time had problems with the levels. Between Bone Archfiend and this guy and some of our other guys, you do not have that problem anymore. You do not need to be playing shit like Red Warg, I think, these days. No, it probably is a one of because you don't need him, but he's a really good recursion guy, and just this is a good guy to have because if you've got him, you've probably got part of your combo. Like we're probably going.
I don't know the numbers that well for it, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean the thing is, you have another classic level 5 guy as well that you can summon, who's also got a sick-ass art. Because they did a couple of retrains of Jack's monsters to make them work in the deck. The next one of those is...
Yeah, wow, but I've always liked the retrain of these cards because I think like the art design is more interesting, where it's like they're more... It's like, oh, we're a mix of like we build upon the legacy of a thing, but we also kind of like put stuff together to just like make a cooler thing.
Yeah. And speaking of making a cooler thing, this is Power Vice Dragon, which is a retrain of Vice Dragon. And it's got power in its name because Jack always said he used a power deck. But Vice Dragon was one of the level 5s that, Jack Atlas would fuck around with to combo with Dark Resonator. And so we have Power Vice Dragon. A Dark Dragon, level 5, 2k attack, 2400 defense. First of all, an RDA that was synchro summoned using this card as a material can't be destroyed by battle. Just a little funny extra bonus effect.
Oh, the stream's buffering.
Okay. Look over there. You're good. Yeah. Seems like a temporary thing. Power Vice, though, yes. A classy big boy, a cool guy. So he has 2 effects that say you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are Dark Synchro, special summon this card from your hand. Again, freest level 5 in the universe. If this card's special summoned, add a Resonator from your deck to your hand, but you can't special summon except Dark Synchro monsters for the rest of this turn. From your extra deck.
It's a really dumb thing. It's a really funny thing. I was going to say, like, some dark tech we could have done is if we could have done some fucking rank 5s, but I guess we can't, unfortunately.
No, they do the smart thing because, remember, this is... Vice Dragon came out in Blazing Dominion, which is a set that literally came out, like, again, 2 weeks ago. Not even quite.
Holy shit, okay.
So
Right, it's the latest set. Okay.
Yeah, this is the latest TCG set, which is why these cards have these like slightly larger previews. They're not in Master Duel yet, so we're going off other assets online. But obviously, while K9 is kind of on its way out, I do think that Konami, when they were designing these cards, did it to think about what was also out, and were like, we don't want to accidentally tech this into rank 5 decks that are good already. So, like, if this didn't synchro lock you, hypothetically, you could use this, to replace cards that are being hit on the ban list in something like a K9 or something.
I've just noticed a thing.
Yeah.
Or, I think, have we talked? Actually, tell me if we brought this up before. But I think Xyz and Link cards are just way too easily able to just be abused if there's one way to just cheat stuff with them. Like,
no, we have talked about this before. Link.
Like, I feel like Xyz and Link are
the
both
Xyz
just like, if you give
era,
them a mile, they'll take 20 kilometers.
Yeah, no. If Links and Xyz are generic enough, and you build the decks around them, they can be very scary. And it's because I think they are kind of simplistic, basically. Like, fusion and synchro monsters tend to be more complicated. Same with pendulum scales, obviously. Like, those are finicky. They require setup. They usually require 2-card setup. Obviously, like, Xyz usually also require 2 cards at least, but, like, it just, any 2 level 4 guys, just keep summoning more guys. You can make more Xyz monsters. And Links are kind of the same way, right? You just spam guys. Whereas Synchros, you need to specifically have your tuner and your non-tuner, and sometimes those are material checked, etc. Fusions usually require spell cards for at least some semi-specific materials. Obviously, there are super generic fusion monsters, but many of them require at least a little bit of flavor. And the same with pendulum scaling is, like, that requires you to have two spell cards that are also monster cards in your pendulum zones and, like, balance your levels and shit. They haven't done another mainline anime, so they haven't come up with a new summoning method. I'm sure Konami will break that glass someday, but
I'm not sure what it'd be yet, but
yeah, I don't know exactly what they do, but I feel like they just won't not come up with a new extra deck summoning material.
Honestly,
but usually the formula
wish,
I've noticed
I still believe in the thing. If we ever do the fucking landscape style art thing, where it's like all defense mode monsters, defense mode cards, like.
That could be cool. They could do something with that. They've shown that
And
they're not afraid now with the overfreeze to play around with that.
I don't care what they say, but I think they need to make the rule that if you turn a Link monster defense position, it just fucking explodes. It just dies.
Yeah, I've agreed with
I
that
feel
for
like
a couple of years,
I just feel like, because then it makes certain cards like, because barely cards like swaps positions,
I mean, the alternative, the way Links are now, is just, they don't have a defense stat, so they just don't have a defense position. Fucks up way too many card mechanics that existed and continue to exist.
I think it should do the thing of, like, it explodes or, like, it negates their effects, like, as a way to cheat out, like, I feel like a way to give it Achilles heel to Link monsters.
I get that they don't want to make it so that they actually get turned to defense, so they don't fuck up with their arrows. Like, you can't change arrow direction by putting your own monster in defense. Like, I've thought about being like, if Link monsters go to defense, they're treated as 0, but that would fuck up arrows. I think just making it so that, like, if a Link monster is ever placed in defense mode, it becomes destroyed. It's sent to graveyard. Sorry, not destroyed, because then Link monsters that are indestructible are immune. Make it so they are sent to graveyard by game mechanics, so it's unoutable. You can summon him back if you want because he's been summoned legitimately, but it just you can make certain cards, like certain Link monsters, that it actually are based around that mechanic of being that, like, get flipped and basically become a resource you can, like, renew. Yeah, be a case where, like, this card was sent to the graveyard by being turned to defense position. Well, it's designed to come back from that. You can cycle them.
And, like, basically, it lets you, like, you draw a card upon summoning, or more of it. You pull, basically, you get to add a card from your graveyard back to your hand. When your time you send this to grave, kind of thing.
Something like that. Dante loops. But I think there's room for new summoning types. And
the point is, I think if they did that, I think not. There's also certain fucking Link monsters that are still, like, untargetable anyway, so doesn't matter to those. But, like, I think it works better as a way to be, like, it makes cards that, like, flip cards a way to be, like, scary to Link cards. And I feel like
Yeah,
would
no,
probably
like I
change the
said, it's just
gameplay
that
in,
there's
like,
been.
I don't think a crazy.
We have talked
maybe
about
a
this
crazy way, but I think that's healthy for the game.
Yeah, no, I think Lynx could historically. Lynx and Xyz, we started this conversation by X bringing up something that he was like, oh, did we talk about this before? And I'm like, yeah, we've definitely talked about it before, that Lynx and Xyz are the most easily accessible extra deck monsters, and therefore typically are the ones that are most problematic. I do believe together they have the most bans.
I love a good rank 4. I'm not, I don't think I'm basic, but I am like, I do like a good rank 4.
I mean, listen, there's something cool about stacking up monsters. I think Xyz are neat, but it's also just that, yeah. Them being generically accessible also makes some of them very broken. Like, I remember when we did do the FP episode on Ryzeal. I don't remember if you were there all the way for it, but Vesper was with us for that one. And just, like, every single time I would read a new Ryzeal card, Vesper was just like, wow, they'll just put anything on a Yu-Gi-Oh card, huh? And the answer is yes. Like they have done some crazy overtuning.
Yeah, because they search and summon and like revive itself all easily.
Ryzeal's so crazy.
Isn't each raised Ryzeal card just a staple of it itself?
Basically, I think that's why to limit the deck, they had to put like almost every single name to 1. There were a couple of bad Ryzeals, but like most of them got put to like 1 or 2.
And were even the bad ones just like okay?
Oh no, they're still usable. It's just that like they're not like
game changing every time.
Yeah, like anyway, summoning methods. I think we could leave some room to be expanded, and I think that the way we're at right now is we're due for a complex one. Synchros are more complicated, not the most complicated, but you have to do some basic counting.
I think it's because they're combo based, and then like Xyz can be combo, but they're more about material, and then like
Xyz is just any two guys at the same level you can stick.
Counting, it's just like you focus around one typing, and then scale from there.
And then Pendulum is like requires math because you have to figure out the difference between your two scales, and if there's no gap you actually like can't pendulum summon. Like there's actual strategy involved. Links go back to fuck it, we ball, like the materials are just anything, and it gets easier to summon higher level Link monsters if you play Links right.
I think they could have re-released most of like the archetype gets a free Link because it needs to have MR4. It's like I think you should have made it require materials of that archetype.
And nowadays, I think we're just like we
don't
have new summoning methods, but we're getting more experimental. Like Cool Tunes are just they synchro with just tuners, which is really neat, but also means that it's hard to play with other cards in the deck.
I'm blanking on the name, but like the Noble Knights Link.
Oh, Charles, yeah, King
no,
Charlemagne.
Noble Knights.
Charles the Great.
No, Noble Knights, not Infernal.
Oh, Isolde, you're talking about like the generic twos. Those guys are all super problematic.
That should have been. I'm saying that should have required like 2 or at least 2 monsters, including or like two warrior monsters, including a Noble Knights or 2 Noble Knight monsters.
Honestly, saying just 1 Noble Knight monster would have meant like you had to include some archetype cards. You had to work around it.
Same with and I think. How should have required summoned a Crystron tuner or required a Crystron?
No,
or both.
So Konami was trying a thing with their generics in that phase because they were trying to make them like more
I feel like it would have been better if they made
it was much more problematic. Yes.
It's why I think like if they could have actually
I still don't know what the fuck they were thinking with Verte. Just any 2 effect monsters. That's literally no restrictions. That should have at least been actually
included.
Let alone like 2 Predaplants, but like it should have been at least 2
it should at least including a Predaplant.
I mean, yes, no, like actually, again, if we were gonna balance them, they should require the archetypes, and that would still be very good. But like,
they'd be good, but like it would require. Yeah.
Any Link monster that says 2 effect monsters is the most accessible card in the universe. So like you should.
It's why like I was like. I just don't know what they were thinking at the time, and it's why I think like if
I know what they were thinking. They were thinking like we want to include like they wanted to. They were like, okay, so we've done this thing with the extra deck and the zones to like slow the game down, right? But there's a lot of legacy support decks that can't keep up with that need multiple extra deck summons. So we're gonna try and create more room, but instead of printing just legacy support for those decks, period. We want to prevent this problem in the future by making these links future-proofed, by making them generic enough that you can build more broad deck lists. The problem, they're too generic. The deck lists are too broad. Isold just being any 2 warriors at summon a warrior is like, well, that just means that warrior decks are the most open thing in the universe, Honestly, Verte being any 2 effect monsters send a fusion spell is like crazy circumstances.
Dallas can fight me on this or whatever, but like I look at the where it's like, I at least think about like Western card game design where it's being like, oh, they would have rotted this card for being like, oh, we fucked up here, we're gonna rotted this. I might be thinking about like war games or whatever. But like they would have rotted this, or it'd be like, all right, this card's banned. We're gonna make a new version of this card where it's like this, but we actually have the limitations it should have instead.
I mean, Konami does re-release banned cards, but like I feel like these days they've gotten away from that and just do different stuff. Like there's been waves of Crystron support after Hulk, so you don't have to play Hulk anymore. But it's not a link to like they've. They did do for a long time. I mean, we literally just talked about it, right? Scarlet Security. They made a card that's basically just...
got your back, yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I peeked a little. Sorry. I was getting a little more forceful. What I was saying was, like, they've done retrains of banned cards before. These days, they seem to not make them just the same thing, but fair. Like, there's been Crystron support since Hulk came out that doesn't involve a link to, but we literally earlier today talked about Scarlet Security, right? That card is literally just Feather Duster, but you have to control an RDA. Like... There are retrains of cards that are banned that are, more fair. I feel like what Konami's doing is, like, Konami's hedging their bets these days about, like, well, maybe someday Verte Anaconda will be alright, Like, because they've unbanned cards that seem like they would be banned forever, they hedge their bets these days so that if they ever have to unban these cards, or ever their time comes when they can unban these cards, you don't now have... extra copies of the card running around, and they just do different things. And sometimes they're just weird. Like, I genuinely don't know what the fuck the TCG's problem is about Electromite. Like, Loth mentioned her in chat. Also, Aaron said that things will hopefully be fine. He's been talking to some of his boys about getting some work stuff sorted out, so we hope it works out. But, Loth's in chat talking about Electromite. I don't know what the TCG is going on. They should just unban Electromite. Like, when Electromite was banned, it was problematic. It was the freest card in the universe. But every single Pendulum archetype that the OCG produces is designed that you will have access to Electromite because it has remained unbanned there forever, unlike a lot of the busted-ass Link 2s. And it is actually not that problematic of a Link 2. Like, compared to cards that stayed unbanned in the TCG for a long time, like Verte and Hulk and Isolde, Electromite is not that good. You can unban Electromite. You can put her at 1. Trust me. Trust. Anyway, we got off another tangent about extra deck monsters. Power Vice Dragon does extra deck lock you, but it was mentioned earlier that you don't play that many Demon Piece Golem. It's because this guy is one of your crazy starters. Like... He is just a free summon if you control no monsters, and then also you can summon if you control no Dark Synchro monsters, and he is a starter because he adds a Resonator. Like, he just adds a guy, which is crazy good. So, like, this is your primary starter plus Darkness, and if you need a level 4, you're probably playing Bone Archfiend as an extender that you can hypothetically normal summon in a pinch, and... you do want to play a 4 because one of the cards they did add as well is... Because, gang, if you didn't know, while not really synergistic, your old friend Crimson Blader, which was another generic Synchro staple back in the day, was a Jack Atlas card. So, they added new Crimson Blader, Crimson Blade Dragon, which is just... Crimson Blader if he was a dragon. Honestly, I think in some parts this art might be a little too detailed. I do not like all the fucking muscle lines.
It makes you think of like the cover art for like it makes you think of the cover of like some other kind of manga.
Yeah, or maybe like a 90s comic, like a 90s indie comic. The perspective on this is also
in a weird way. I could see this guy as a fucking witch. I could see this guy as a Witchblade character.
I say the perspective is fucked. Notice that his left-hand sword is between his
knee
I don't
thing.
know what to call that.
Over
He's got
his
a
sword?
knee spike, and then also he has shoulder danglies because he's got pauldrons that have little things that dangle down, little tassels.
It fits there. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Like, it fits there, but in terms of perspective, it is wedged between a foreground object and a background object, and it's like, you don't need to do all that, but you did need to do all that because you gave this guy weird knee spikes and shoulder tassels and also 4 kinds of horns.
He's got a Gundam
Like, he's
waist.
got antenna, and then he's got horns, and then he's got mask horns. He's got a loincloth on for some reason, because, again, this is just Crimson Blader, but fused with an RDA.
I mean, it's like a tab. It's like a metal tabard, but yeah.
Yeah. But
Again,
it's
This is one of those, another Yu-Gi-Oh concert that'd be really cool as a 3D model.
yes, but unfortunately, as a 2D image, it's just like, we're really... Again, talking about how digital tools the artist can zoom freely, the artist had this blown up way too big and put too much detail in this picture, and then they had to shrink his ass down to fit on a Yu-Gi-Oh card, and it's like...
Yeah, this was drawn digitally and could have been a poster or something.
Yeah. Would have been unfortunately, I think we weren't doing overframes yet. This would be sick as an overframe. Like, it can break out of the frame a little. Anyway, this is a great card to add to the deck, though, because this is a level 7 Dark Dragon Synchro. Because you'll notice that you're often locked to Dragon Synchros or Dark Synchros. The original Crimson Blader is a level 8 Fire Warrior. So, like, you can make him in this deck, but...
I mean, Crimson Blader is a weird overlap between, like, Yusei and Jack's styles.
Yeah, but Crimson Blader was used by Jack. Is it supposed to be Exploder Dragonwing? That makes sense. That was another Jack Atlas card that was previously your 7, but obviously is
that fucker. Oh, yeah, that
not,
fucker, yeah.
Not as useful in modern times. But this basically turns... Sorry. The first parenthetical text of this card is always treated as Crimson Blader. Always treated as Crimson Blader. So, literally, this card is Crimson Blader, but now he's a level 7 Dark Dragon. He is not generic in that he requires a Resonator tuner and 1 or more non-tuners, but it gives you a level 7 that's summonable in this deck, which is always good. I think Synchro decks are better when they can summon different levels and they have different level combos, because you never know exactly what you're going to wombo combo into. But if this card is Synchro Summoned, take 1 level 8 or higher monster that can't be normal summoned from your deck or graveyard, and either add it to your hand or special summon it, but negate its effects. You can only use this effect once per turn. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a level 5 or higher monster, you can destroy that monster. So this doesn't have the floodgating that Crimson Blader did. That's probably pretty good because this card's way easier to summon. But this card is supposed to work with the new Assault Mode stuff because they made an Assault Mode Crimson Blader. But also, this lets you summon Assault Modes from your deck or graveyard, or add them to your hand, but negated, because they are... Actually, no, it doesn't say ignoring their summon condition. So it doesn't let you summon from deck, but it would let you summon a properly summoned Assault Mode from your graveyard, but also it lets you search them, because they can't be normal summoned or set. And there are other cards it works with. Like, there are some cards that can be used to hand. So you can add back Lubellion. The problem, I want to say, is that this lets you bridge into Mitsurugi, which is very popular in the OCG, because Ame no Habakiri is searchable. But this is probably meant to be used with Crimson Blader Assault Mode to set up the Assault Mode stuff, basically using Resonator Engine as an Assault Mode package, or using Assault Mode as a package inside Resonator, etc. But you can use this for Lubellion, which lets you do Bestials. Very funny combo is this works with cards that can only be special summoned. So you can use this shit to search and summon fucking Jungle Dweller, which is a level 8 Dark Fiend.
Okay.
Which, if you don't know how Jungle Dweller works, it's a relatively newer card. You can banish a light or dark to special summon it from your hand, but it can't be targeted But guard effects, well, there's 2 cards in the field zones, and then if it's destroyed, you can shuffle 2 field spells from your graveyard or banishment, and then destroy that many cards your opponent controls. So, like, that's a very funny tech card you can combo in. But no, mostly you use it for assault mode or Mitsu bridging. But I think it's really neat that it lets you, first of all, it lets you pop high-level monsters. That can be very useful in some combinations. And just, it's a level 7 Dark Dragon Synchro you can now summon in this deck, while counting as Crimson Blader. Next. Also, I think, Loth, you were correct earlier when you said it looked like a raid boss. I should make sure, if you're not gonna hop in the call, I should make sure to shout out what you're saying in chat. You never know, Loth, maybe getting cough. What I'm getting is my voice is getting a little tired. This is the longest FP we've done in a while.
I'm here, so yeah.
And it's funny, though, because, like, it's not just, you know, I've only got one person here with me, but also, like, FP involves a lot of reading. So, like, I streamed for 3.5 hours yesterday on Monday between tech diff and just, like, bouncing some stuff out and jumping through random games because Lucky was feeling sick that day.
It's funny you mentioned, hey, if I'm not going to join the call. I just got back with my coffee.
He did just get back from the shops. I didn't get edited correctly. But yeah, this is, we've done such a long-running episode that Loth actually is able to get all his daily stuff done and come back. Sorry, it was a bad cut.
Hey, I didn't have to leave an hour and a half ago, so, like, how it works out.
We've had a big full episode, which is why my voice is getting a little tired. But it's funny that, like, there's so much reading aloud I do in FP that, like, my voice is getting a little tired. Because I streamed for technically longer yesterday, but my voice was not stressed during that stream because, I don't know, I played Aliens Fireteam Elite for, like, an hour and a half, and that, like, was mostly just me cussing at aliens, and then when I did the double flamethrower build, just chuckling to myself. Please watch the Flamer build short. I think it's very funny. I'm very happy about me doing a weird edit. And if you watch the VOD of this stream, you can see a very shitty version of the deep fried edit I did, which I might post that just on Patreon. I posted it on Twitter. I might do some other places, but it's a funny one. Anyway, this card is the Crimson King! The King!
He's doing the fucking point.
Yeah, Jack Atlas has done what Kaiba couldn't and become a dragon. He's doing the point. Which is... this is a thing that Jack does when he activates his special ability called Blazing Soul. Or Burning Soul. So, like, he's hitting a pose. Also, it's funny to me talking about that. We were talking earlier about how, like, Yusei is the viewpoint protagonist and gets a lot of wins, but is not the most interesting character. I do actually think that, like, talking about the legendary signer, I think that guy has got a lot more in common with Jack Atlas than Yusei. But, like I said, Yusei's got some cool cards that we liked.
That's a bit, too.
We're doing the pose. The Crimson King. The Crimson Kingu. So yeah, we made I can't say we made RDA 2 because there are a lot of RDA 2s, but we made another RDA basically. The Crimson King is a Dark Dragon Synchro level 8, 3k attack, 2500 defense, 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuner dark monsters, so you are dark locked. If this card is synchro summoned, add a card that mentions Red Dragon Archfiend from your deck to your hand. So yeah, Scarlet Security is searchable. Many cards are searchable with this because it's any card that mentions RDA. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, banish this card you control, special summon RDA from your extra deck. And if you do, its attack becomes double and it can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. You can use each effect once per turn. So basically, Crimson King just gives you... I've talked before about how RDA has been classically a very strong OTK Go Second deck that has struggled with going first. Crimson King fixes that. Crimson King is the 8 you go into on your turn going first. You search a card, you extend, you set up, and then Ideally, if your opponent, activates a monster effect going second before they can do any setup, you banish this card you control, you summon RDA. RDA is fucking 6k and can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effect, so you just wait until their end turn, and then you you kill them. You kill their ass on turn 3, basically. Which is way better than making Red Hot King Calamity on your opponent's turn. Thank you very much. So, no, this is a great guy to be summoning.
I can't get over the fucking chest muscles.
Nah, he's pretty cool.
Oh, well, technically, Pauldron? I don't know, he's got, like, muscles and then, like, a chest plate.
Yeah, he's, like, weirdly exoskeletal in some odd ways.
But he's got, like, the typical dragon, like, underbelly thing going right from the neck all the way down the middle.
But then he's also got a fucking belt to accentuate it. And also his scales you talk about form a logo. This is a very brand-conscious dragon.
The branding.
Speaking of branding, we've got another funny guy. This was the guy who technically came out earlier in the structure deck, but I don't... Oh, sorry. I was dumb. I just grabbed the fucking card print, not the actual card art. But this is Scarred Dragon Archfiend.
This motherfucker.
Who is just... Sorry, I got lost for a second. It's because I removed all identifiers from my image editing software window, so I was just like, blank white screen, what's that? Here it is. Scarred Dragon Archfiend is just Scarred Daemon in Japanese. Doesn't even mention that it's a dragon in the OCG. But this is another guy that can pretend to be Red Dragon Archfiend. And I do believe one of them... Let me double-check the trivia. One of them... has the same name as him. Retrained. And then Scarlight is... Scarlight's from 5Ds. Becomes Red Dragon in the field of our graveyard. I thought one of these guys just straight up was RDA at other times, too. But I think Hot Red is the manga version. Yeah, okay, so Scarlight was the first guy to pretend to be RDA. So you still need to play one normal RDA in your deck. But you have a lot of guys that can also pretend to be him. Scarred Dragon Archfiend is a level 8 Dragon Synchro Dark, 3k attack, 2500 defense, 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuner Dark monsters. This card's name becomes Red Dragon Archfiend while it's on the field or in the graveyard, so it does set up some of your RDA plays. If this card's sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, you can special summon an RDA from your extra deck. This is treated as a Synchro summon. Then if this card was sent to the graveyard as material for a Dark Dragon Synchro monster, destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. You can use this effect once per turn. So basically, Scarred Dragon Archfiend is a guy who becomes RDA. If your opponent blows it up, fuck them, summon RDA. But also, this is the card you're supposed to go when you're making your OTK play. You tune this into Red Nova Dragon or to one of your other combos. Yeah, Scarlight's the Arc V version, which he still becomes Red Dragon Archfiend, but I thought there was one of them that always counted as Red Dragon Archfiend. But no, it's just Scarlight is Red Dragon Archfiend on field or graveyard, same as Scarred. I don't know if you still play Scarlight, but you might, because he counts as RDA. But basically, Crimson King is an ideal going first card because it can tag into RDA and protect him by basically making him big and tough and hard to destroy. And so on and so forth. And so you can go for the turn 3 kill. Scarred Dragon Archfiend is the guy you make when it's your turn and you have the battle phase, because you turn this guy into Red Nova Dragon or possibly into Red Hypernova, who is a brand new guy. But you turn him into one of your big level 12s so that your opponent's whole board is blown up. and you get to summon regular RDA, and you get to attack for game, basically. Like, make a big bonkle dragon. Next, Red Hypernova Dragon, who I did just mention. Because they were like, what if? Okay, so I guess they did not post an image of this guy like on a website, so hold on, I gotta go Google it.
Good.
You okay over there? You alright?
I don't know, just feeling something in my throat.
It happens. But yeah, like I said, you can still make regular Red Nova Dragon in this deck, but they were like, what if we did Red Nova Dragon 2? And that becomes, as the aforementioned, Red Hypernova, who I believe was the primary cover card for Blazing Dominion. Though in the OCG, I think some of the packs showed Crimson King. But yeah, this is the big new boy. We may have mentioned him on the channel before. We haven't done like a deep dive because he just came out. But this is our big blaster. Yeah. Better. This is basically Jack Atlas's version of Quasar, except we made this guy, this year. This is another 2026 card. And also, unlike Quasar, he doesn't have a weird sword on his face. He does have a really long Xenomorph head, but I can forgive him for that. Because otherwise, he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Big-ass blazing big boy. He's got fucking hot rod flames on his legs, which are also swords, his sword legs. And he's got kind of a South American or Mesoamerican like wave pattern on his wings. That's cool. This is a cool guy. I like him. Except he's not a cool guy. He's a hot guy. Hot.
He's spicy.
But Red Hypernova Dragon, a.k.a. Ska-Red Hypernova Dragon, is a level 12 Dark Dragon Synchro, 4,500 attack, 3k defense, so already 1k bigger than Nova. This guy has to be quad-tuned. He requires 4 tuners and 1 non-tuner synchro monster.
Damn, boy.
It says a lot about RDA that you can still set that up. You can still do 4 tuners. But anyway, must first be synchro summoned with the above materials. Gains 500 attack for each tuner in your graveyard. So once again, assuming that you did not leave any other tuners in your graveyard to make him, this guy is at least 6,500 attack. Your opponent cannot target this with card effects. It cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Once per turn, quick effect, banish this card. Banish as many cards from your opponent's field and graveyard as possible. Special summon Red Nova from your extra deck. This is treated as a synchro summon. This is a quick effect, so it can be done in the battle phase. So basically, Red Hypernova Dragon punches for as much damage as you can do with 6,500. Then you immediately quick effect banish your opponent's entire board and graveyard and attack with Red Nova Dragon, who is 3,500, probably. No. I love that they've included Red Nova in the deck still and made it so you want to play him, probably. And yeah, Hypernova just fucking quick effects into banish your opponent's entire board, and then you summon Red Nova from your extra deck, which is treated as a synchro summon, and you just punch. Like, that's... Red Dragon Archfiend really didn't need any help OTKing. It's a very strong OTK deck. Hypernova basically guarantees the kill. Like, your opponent has to be on some very special sauce to not just die to Red Hypernova. Especially because, once again, the way Ska-Red works is if you use Ska-Red, Scarred, Demon's Dragons, Scarred, Archfiend Dragon, you quad synchro this guy, you double synchro him, right? That means you also summon RDA from your extra deck. which counts as a synchro summon. So you have Red Hypernova and you have Vanilla RDA at 3k attack on the board. And then you can float into red, like, it's a crazy good deck these days, like, very consistent stuff. Should be getting some, like, I believe this has been getting some tops in the extra deck, or in the OCG. It works with that brand new level 7 guy that shows 5 synchros to your opponent, Hand Trap. I forget his name. But, like, it works in this deck, because you're playing Oops All Synchros and extra. This deck should be very good, and Nova is, like, one of your killer apps. Which, again, you don't... This deck did not necessarily need help OTKing.
Well, this
but
is the closer
you even
now.
easier to, yeah, like you
because
you,
it's basically now. Because it's basically just shooting Quasar Red Archfiend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
we
have
just made more Nova.
You have a great killer app, and
This thing's literally, I think, also like coming out of a fucking sun. So like,
yeah. I mean, he's coming out of a red Nova. He's ready to rock. So like, yeah, they've done a very good job of giving RDA tools that let it do some very cool things, but also incentivize you to play Red Nova and play the original RDA, because they're still not bad cards. Like, regular Red Nova is still a pretty decent card to make, because your opponent's going to have a hard time attacking over him, especially if you do the stuff that makes him so he can't be, like, destroyed by card effects. So then your opponent has to, like, run him over by battle, but his effect is banish this card, negate battle. But we do also have a few newer spell trap cards as well to talk about, released either in Blazing Dominion or in the structure deck, which, once again, that's why we're here. We're doing the structure deck. I think we're out of structured decks after Crystal Beast. I'll double check the list. But we might just have to start grab bagging some stuff until we can build a more consistent schedule with some other people and do some more cubes or do some other shit. There are a few lingering archetypes, though, that we still haven't talked about. Like, I don't think we've ever done Heroic ourselves. We could talk about Clownblade. That's not just because Rada did an episode. But him doing that episode did remind me that, oh yeah, we never did do Heroic. We've still done Oops All Heroes. So, which is the gag in the skit if you haven't watched the Heroic challenge, the Heroic Weapons video. Also, I think that video reminded me that, like, those guys haven't gotten support in a number of years, and I'm like, that's crazy. That deck could actually be pretty cool, Konami. Remember Heroics? You finally, like, Rongo Bongo Turbo was really annoying in Master Duel, so, like, give them a new one. Give them a Heroic Challenger Carwenan, because you did Excalibur and Rongo Miniad. So give me Carwenan the dagger.
Give us Caliburn for shits and giggles.
Yeah, you could do that too. You could do a Caliburn. That also is valid. And you could do Pridwin, the shield. King Arthur's shield. That might also be a boat.
There might also be a surfboard.
Shh, we're not talking about that. If I had, like, if I could do some stuff on the fly, I would absolutely just slap, like, if this was a produced show, not a live stream, I would absolutely just insert Surf Mo's NP in here right now.
Big Wednesday, yeah.
Anyway, this card is called Absolute Power Force, which is also the name of a Yu-Gi-Oh set, but is also the name of a thing that Red Dragon Archfiend does. Red Dragon Archfiend's effect was called Absolute Power Force, and it was also used as the name of the booster, which had not RDA, but had Red Majestic Dragon on the cover.
If I may make one comment, why does it look like he's staring at his other hand and going, "Why aren't you doing this?"
Yeah, it's a little funny that he's like, again, Yu-Gi-Oh perspective. In the anime, he's at a slightly different angle because it's like an action shot of, like, Red Dragon doing his thing. In this one, we've, like, put the fist doing the thing in the center of the frame, as opposed to, like, slightly off-center because it's an action shot where he's going to, take his claw and move it through center of frame.
So just to make an Ogre Papanung joke, or a TTS joke, or a Brother Abusa joke here, Absolute Power Force just translates to big hand power crush face. No, big power face crush.
That is or rather, that is how an orc would interpret this card. Yes.
He's going to fucking Kali Ma you.
So this is a quick play spell that says target an RDA you control. If that monster battles an opponent's monster this turn, apply these effects, all of these effects, until the end of the damage step. It gains 1,000 attack. Your opponent can't activate cards or effects. If it attacks defense position monster, it inflicts piercing. Your opponent's battle damage is doubled. So this is another great card. This works great with Scarred, but also works if you float Scarred into the regular RDA because it lets you do piercing and have 1,000 attack and also double battle damage. Like, it's another closing card. And it mentions Red Dragon Archfiend, so you can search it off Scarred. Great card. I don't know if it's a 3 of, because a lot of these cards are searchable as needed, but it's a pretty good combo. Next, I mentioned it before, but Burning Soul. The card Burning Soul, because Burning Soul is also the name of a skill in Duel Links. A Jack Atlas skill, obviously, duh.
Who the fuck is that?
This is the legendary signer who defeated Crimson Nova in the past and sealed the Earthbound Immortals into the Nazca lines.
Yeah, like they tied Jack's whole thing with the Burning Soul, which is like a yeah, which ties into I think like why they do Soul Burner.
Yes. Jack got some extra juice. So, like, technically, this is a card that is not necessarily locked to RDA, but it works with RDA. It was in the King's Court side set as, like, an import, because it was in a premium pack. But they put it in the Red Dragon structure deck. This is a quick play that says, if you control level 8 or higher Synchro, add one card from your graveyard to your hand except Burning Soul. Then immediately after this resolves, Synchro summon using monster controls material. For the rest of this turn after this card resolves, your opponent can't target Synchro monster with card effects. You can activate one Burning Soul per turn. This is just another way that you can, like, do some funny combos to make your big guys to Synchro climb. It does not mention Red Dragon Archfiend, so it's not searchable, so I don't think you'd play it currently, but it is a very funny guy. Speaking of very funny guys, here's another card that's not... This is a card that was speaking of was in a premium pack, so it was in a side set in the OCG. It did not get imported yet. But this is another card, the card I'm about to show, that is RDA related. And let me see if I can get a full art. Otherwise, we'll have to just do I'll just have to do a scanlation. Okay, it's a little small, but it is the actual card art. This card is called Champion's Pulse, or Ruler's Pulse in the OCG. I'll double it. This is a manga card. So it's going to name check Hot Red Dragon.
Very Egyptian.
Yeah, like, I
thought they go more Mesoamerican. Unless
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think it's still supposed to be
they're saying the guy
that.
the guy before, like, the Mesoamerican guy that had the Burning Soul was an Egyptian guy.
But the dual priests, which are in the manga, like, look like that. So, I don't know. I think the manga kind of mixed some of their stuff a little, but it also talks about, you know, Ojo no Kodo, so, like, Ruler's Pulse. So that's related to the Red Dragon Archfiend summoning chant. Anyway, this is a normal trap card. Like I said, it's not out in the TCG yet, but it should be. It's a normal trap card that says, during your opponent's battle phase, activate one of these two effects. Either during your opponent's battle phase, your opponent gains 1,000 life points, then end the battle phase. Fuck you, battle phase is over. When your opponent activates a monster effect while they control more cards than you do, special summon RDA or Hot Dragon Archfiend from your extra deck or graveyard. If you do, negate the activated effect and destroy that monster. You can only activate 1 Champion's Pulse per turn. So when this card comes out to the TCG and Master Duel, it mentions RDA, so it will be searchable. It does let you cheat out RDA or Ha Red Dragon from your extra deck. It's basically your version of Starlight Road, finally. Because Starlight Road let you, if your opponent would destroy 2+, negate, summon Stardust Dragon. So this lets you summon out RDA, negate, destroy, while they control more cards than you. So this card can be useful. The main thing is just that, like, it's tricky to set up because it's like if your opponent activates a card while they control more cards than you. This is obviously a going first card where, like, you will have the opportunity to have board setup, but you might have narrow board setup in RDA because you mostly turn many little tuners into one big guy. So I could see it. This could be like a side deck card for if you, like, you're going first or something. It is searchable, so, like, it's useful. And certainly, like, the ending the battle phase can be worth giving your opponent 1,000 LP, like, if they do actually break your board and don't just blow up all your back row. Like, you can use that to just get out of jail free. I personally think I agree with something somebody said in chat way earlier. I forget who did it. But somebody mentioned we should retrain Battle Fader, because that was a Jack Atlas thing. That's probably would be better as a hand trap. But yeah. Next. Let me check the gallery if we've got a good art of this, because this is another Blazing Dominion card. We do have it blown up, but it has the watermark, so I apologize, chat. Deal with it.
Make do for what it is.
This is Crimson Call, a.k.a. In the OCG, Crimson Hell Call.
Honestly, the Hell part is
go.
honestly, the Hell Call is that feels like just kind of being extra, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's all in English. It's Crimson Herukor. Like, it's just
fair.
This is just Jack Atlas's combat barks, basically. Playing it to the crowd.
I think I'm just too accepting of, like, jank like that.
Like, I think you mentioned it earlier, talking about comparing it to wrestling. Jack Atlas feels like one of those, like, wrestling anti-heroes. Like, he has the trappings of, like, a heel, but also management wants him to win. He's the champ,
He's the heel everyone wants to be a face.
And then he becomes a face. Like, so he has a lot of, like, extra shit, like Crimson Hell Call and stuff like that. Calling his monster's attack Absolute Power Force. Anyway, this card just came in Blazing Dominion, and I mentioned before you could use, Resonator Command. This, I think, lets you basically replace that. This is a normal spell that says, add a level 4 or lower Fiend monster from your graveyard to your hand. And if you control RDA, or a Synchro monster that mentions it, you can add one from your deck instead. So, like, you can still play Command, because that lets you search any level 4 guy. But this is much more flexible, because it lets you recycle your boys from graveyard, or lets you add back from deck if you already have set up. So it's a pretty good recovery extension tool. Also, at the end of the damage step, if your Assault Mode monster or Red Dragon Archfiend attacked, you can banish this card from your graveyard. That attacking monster can make it a second attack in a row. You can only activate 1 Crimson Call per turn. So this is just, again, a great card to Foolish Burial, and it just lets you attack more. You combine this with Absolute Power Force, where your Red Dragon Archfiend gets piercing damage and 1,000 attack. Bada boom, bada bing. And there is a new, there are some new Assault Mode stuffs as well. We won't be talking about the other because, like I said, actually, fuck it. I'll ask and see if Marth can let me know, and I'll check our archives if he doesn't get back to me in a timely manner. I'll double check if we've done an Assault Mode episode. If not, we need to do, like, a little support report on it. But if we haven't done Assault Mode straight up, we should do an Assault Mode episode next week as kind of a follow-up to this, since I don't know what we're doing next week. So we'll tentatively pencil that one in. I'll double check the archives. We've been doing Fail Portrayal for, like, I want to say, like, 4 years now. So we've got a lot of stuff in the can. But there is, I mentioned before with Crimson Blader, Sorry, had to cough. But with with Crimson Blade Dragon, there is also a new Assault Mode Crimson Blader. There is like some overlap to these decks. But if we haven't done it, we should catch up. Next is a card you've probably seen a lot because it was in the Structure deck, and it's also in the Structure deck in Master Duel. This is one of your classic boys, starters or extenders. It's Crimson Gaia, which is Crimson Hell Gaia in Japanese. But this is just taken from a screen grab from Arc 5.
Cool shot.
Yeah, I know, it's a cool shot. This is technically Scarlight Dragon Archfiend busting out. But this is a continuous spell card that says, during your main phase, you can add one Red Dragon Archfiend or one card that mentions it from your deck or graveyard to your hand except Crimson Gaia. So this is your other way to search Red Dragon Archfiend accessories. Also, when your Red Dragon Archfiend declares an attack, you can change all monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position. So obviously this goes back to the Link thing we talked about earlier, where some of those will dodge it, but this does basically let you ultimate Tyranno your opponent. And if a monster's on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon Red Dragon Archfiend from your graveyard. You can use each effect of Crimson Gaia once per turn. That's great with our new buddy Scarred, because Scarred is a Red Dragon Archfiend in deck or graveyard. So the way you can do the OTK strat is you can synchro Scarred for Hypernova. When Scarred is sent to graveyard as synchro material, you get to summon vanilla RDA from your deck. You then attack with RDA or Hypernova with Crimson Gaia on board. In battle phase, you summon back Scarred from your graveyard. OTKs, OTKs, OTKs.
Boom, boom, boom.
Just keep summoning big boys until your opponent runs out of stops. Like, that's how you play an OTK deck, is you keep punching. Also, by the way, Crimson Gaia is itself a spell trap that mentions Red Dragon Archfiend, so it's also Giga searchable. And next, an aforementioned boy, one of the other Fiendish Chain retrains. Fiendish Golem. This is just the guy inside the circle of Fiendish Chain. And this was released in Structure Deck Crimson.
I know it's a weird thing, but I don't actually get this. I'm just thinking of fucking Belphegor from SMT when I see this asshole.
No, I can see it, but I feel like this one's like less.
He's just kind of
less
sitting
weird than
down.
that
He's
one.
a little less detailed.
Yeah, he's not sitting on a toilet, but I just get that fine.
Not fair.
But yeah, so Fiendish Golem, Demon Golem is the OCG name. Sorry, music skipped me for a second there. Is a normal trap that says target a monster in the field with 2k or more attack, banish it until the end phase of the next turn. So that's a pretty good Farfa effect. Then if you activate this card where you control the RDA or a synchro monster that mentions it, you can set a Fiendish Chain from your deck or graveyard. You can't activate it that turn, sadly, but this is another great piece of going first tech that the deck kind of could use, because it gives you another point of interaction, and it sets up future interaction by setting a Fiendish Chain. Like, it banishes an opponent's card for quite a long time and sets up future interruption. I don't actually know if you, like... There are different ratios to the deck. I don't know if you would do, like, 3 and 3. Like, do you play 3 Fiendish Golem? It mentions RDA, it's searchable. And then 1 chain, do you play 3 and 3? I don't know. But there's room for different combos and stuff in here. But it is still a card that, like, it's not a negate, but it does remove an opponent's big monster, which can be very useful. Also, I do want to say, I like how a lot of the different card arts from Blazing Dominion are drawn from a lot of different sequences. This is just, referencing a thing that Jack Atlas does all the time. This card is King's Resonance. Rezo King. And it's just Jack Atlas in his dual runner in the Kaiba Dome. And he summoned Red Dragon Archfiend.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of this. Like, sure, it is what it is, like what it's meant to be, but it's kind of boring.
Well, also, once
that.
again, perspective, right? We're fixing a shot that is clearly supposed to be a moving shot because there are speed lines, but we're fixing a moving shot, probably a screen from the anime or a scene from the anime in place. And it means that Red Dragon Archfiend's doing a little weird thing. He's like lengthwise, he's parallel to the ground, when usually he's kind of upright. It's a little odd, and some of the details are a little odd. Like his foot's a little weird. It's not the most flattering pose, but it's a decent, concept. It's no Crimson Gaia, that's for sure. But this is a normal trap card that says, during the turn in which your opponent has special summoned 10 or more monsters, neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Apply the following effects in sequence based on the number of monsters your opponent special summoned this turn. 1 or more, special summon a Dark Synchro from your graveyard or banishment. 3 or more, every Red Dragon Archfiend in your monster zone is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects to the end of your next turn. 5 or more, change all your opponent's monsters to face-down defense position. Activate 1 King's Resonance per turn. So, I get the idea of this card. This is basically giving you an in-archetype Nibiru, basically. It's searchable, and it gives you a way going first to punish your opponent for just summoning a bunch of guys. Like, basically, your monsters are going to be big and tough to get rid of, so this is a card which is searchable, that you can set, that basically is like, when your opponent starts special summoning monsters to get over your guy, you can ideally make it so that they don't get over your guy. Either you can summon back one of your Dark Dragon Synchros, like your opponent gets rid of them for some reason, you get to be like, all right, cool, I'm summoning him back. At 3+, which is a pretty reasonable special summon level, I mean, that's why, Summon Limit and Summon Breaker are so annoying. You can make it so that your guys are basically semi-towers, unaffected by activated effects. Sorry, shooting a thumbs up in Discord. I don't want to seem like I'm not paying attention, even if I am streaming right this second. But also, 5-up is just like, Book of Eclipse, though that doesn't stop links again. But these are in sequence, right? And then, like, the 10+ effect is, like, Crazy Win More. Like, who the fuck is gonna special summon 10 times and let you still have King's Resonance in your back row, But this is still, I think, a pretty decent punish and a pretty decent setup for going first because, like, you don't need to get to 10+. You really only need to get to 3+. And just make it so that your RDA is unaffected. And ideally, I think, you combine with Crimson King, your RDA is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects, and he's 6k this turn because his attack has been doubled. And you get to summon back your Crimson King. You get to recycle him with the 1+ effect.
Just keep going, keep going.
Yeah, like, you're just like, you're basically, you gamble with your opponent and just be like, all right, buddy, you can summon as many monsters as you're like, you're not going to get over me, I'm going to kill you. Like, this is another great going first card for the deck. I read summoned 10 or more as like, oh, well, that's crazy, but I'm like, no, you probably don't do that. Like, that's great insurance that if your opponent gets to 10 up, they can't respond. They can't, retaliate. But, like, really, you probably only need to get to 3 up. Even 5 up is, like, extra sauce. Though if you do it at a great time, that can really fuck your opponent over. Face down cards don't have levels, so you can't use them for synchro. But I think this is a sufficiently powerful trap card to include. Next, the next card is called Red Rain, i.e. Scar Red Rain. This came out in Eternity Code, but it was also reprinted in the Structure deck. It's got Nova on it, which is cool. I think I'm gonna guess it's probably a reference. Okay, no, it's less of a reference, it's more of a pun. Rain, obviously, references the king, but also it's raining meteors. So get it? Red rain. Red rain.
Insert answers here, and Louis Swar getting fucking eviscerated.
Minor spelling mistake. Also, I said that a little
Spelling
mini mouth
mistake?
and almost said, yeah, I was gonna say, I said spelling mistake, but I heard it and I'm like, no, that came out a little mealy mouth. That sounded like spelling mistake, which itself is a minor spelling mistake. Layers.
It's so funny seeing people
explode yourself,
play
I guess.
I get mega flared. What were you saying, Law?
Twitter has been showing me posts of people going through Around Reborn, the emotional vampires, and everyone's just going, "You mean he is this minor spelling mistake guy?"
Yeah, when they actually do coils or something and realize Louis Wa. No, it's good. Anyway, Scar Red Rain is a normal trap that says, if you control a level 8 or higher synchro, banish all monsters on the field except the monsters with the highest level. Also, all face-up monsters remaining on the field are unaffected by other cards' effects except their own until the end of this turn. If a Dark Dragon Synchro Zone all this in your graveyard, add it back to your hand. You can use this effect once per turn. So this card doesn't mention RDA, so it's not searchable. This is still I think if they hadn't printed, if they hadn't just printed King's Resonance, Red Rain would be your other I know I'm going first trap card. It's still pretty good because So, I mentioned before, King's Resonance has a problem where its big effect is it flip monsters face down. If your opponent's on a Link deck, which if they're spamming special summons they might be, that effect doesn't do anything. Red Rain does something because it banishes all cards except those with the highest level. Guess what? A Link monster can never have a level, so all of them are getting banished. They will never be the monster with the highest level. So, that's really good removal. But this card's not searchable, so I would say you have to play it very carefully. It's probably a side deck card because in certain matchups it will be better than Resonance. But Resonance is searchable and is probably just as good as your, going first setup card. When you get a chance to set up. True. You don't need to play a Wild Wind to get him out. And then you just add it to your hand when you foolished it. I see, yeah. Also, that's right. You reminded me. I didn't see that guy at all in the... Chad just reminded me of a monster we need to talk about, but I forgot to include him because he's technically... The wiki skimmed over him because he's also very new, but he technically doesn't name check some of these decks, but he's very much in it. Let me grab him as well. Thank you for mentioning that, though, Chad. Like I said, that guy was not on my list because he's a red card, but searching red as an archetype gets lots of things, because it's not actually an archetype in the OCG. But this is Red Lotus King Flame Crime. Yes, that is his name. Gureno Flame Crime.
I'm sorry, did you say Flame Crime?
Yes, his name is Red Lotus King, Flame Crime. But this is another great card. This was in one of the premium packs in the OCG, but it got reprinted in Maze of Muertos this year because Red Dragon Archfiend good. This is a Fire Fiend level 3 with 1700 attack and 300 defense. During the main phase, if you control a Fiend Tuner or your opponent controls a special summon monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card's special summoned, inflict 400 to your opponent for each fire you control with different names. So when the time rules were different, it was a time card, but not so much. If this card's sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can send a normal trap from your deck to your graveyard. You can use each effect once per turn. So this is a card you can play that if you synchro off does let you bin bin Red Rain so you can add it back later, which I would say is probably worth playing like a 1 of Red Rain so you can just dump it. But yeah, that is an important card to remember because, like I said, this guy doesn't specifically name check Resonators or RDA, but he is another good card to play. And he is a level 3/level 4 lower fiend, so he's like searchable. And honestly, there's a couple of different normal traps you can do that with, but doing that for Red Rain is probably a good one. Next, Red Zone. And the reason why I can't, like I said, red isn't really an archetype in the OCG. This is Scar Red Zone. Scar Red Zone. So Scarred Zone, a.k.a. Scar Red Zone. Without the hyphen.
This is pretty cool. Since you've just made Red Dragon Archfiend into a fucking Nazca line.
Yes. Also, this card is also a reference to the lyrics of the song Clear Mind, which includes the phrase, punch it into the red zone. So, you know, multiple ways of references. But yeah, it's Red Dragon Archfiend as a fucking Nazca line, which is pretty cool. This is a continuous trap that says, when your opponent activates a card or... Well... Sorry, saying W's are hard right now. My water bottle is empty, but I don't really want to take a break because there's like 3 cards left. We've been going for you know, over 3 hours. Almost.
Hey, Omega, would you be fine after this for some Wild Westing?
Maybe. My internet has been better. I will need to drink some water, but I was thinking about that.
Oh yeah, no. Hydrate.
I was a little worried because my internet did cut out a lot earlier today, and it did cut out once on stream at least. Maybe twice. Might have been twice. It's been almost 4 hours. But it hasn't cut out in a while, so we'll see. Anyway, sorry. Red Zone. Now that I coughed, I can say this card's effect text correctly. When your opponent activates a card or effect while you control Red Dragon Archfiend, or a synchro monster that mentions it, target a card on the field, destroy it. You can target one of your banished Dark Dragon synchro monsters, special summon it. You can use each effect of Red Zone once per turn. So, Red Zone gets back, and it was printed in the structure deck. So, Red Zone gets back your guys. Because Scarred Dragon Archfiend... Actually, no. Okay, that's really cool. So that's future-proofed. Red Zone was written after they wrote... Or rather, Crimson King was written after they wrote Red Zone. So you can use Red Zone to get back Crimson King after you banish him to summon RDA. And then this kind of does what... Sorry, it's funny that the Synchro Cup stage theme is just like really loud in my ears. It's looped back around. I'm just like, wow, that's really related. But we mentioned a Resonator spell earlier, or rather a Resonant spell. Resonant Destruction, right? That was the card that every time you used a Resonator as Synchro material, it popped one. But that's not searchable, so it's not good anymore. Red Zone is kind of effectively a retrain of that because it lets you pop one once, though. So, like, it's a decent attempt, and it lets you get a guy back. So this is another decent card that you can also search. Honestly, you got a lot of back row. Like, I suspect the ratios in a modern RDA deck are very tight. That's why we said earlier, I think, that you only run, like, one Fiend Piece Golem. You've got so many fucking cards that you need to trim space somewhere, and a lot of these are good tech cards. Like, a lot of them you can actually play. But our last card for the Eventide, unless I missed any others because how odd searchable this is an in-betweener card, but, you know, kind of shows that they were thinking about this. This came out in 2025 last year. This is Soul Fist, also known as Engraved Soul Right is the Japanese name. This is basically the legendary signer doing the Blazing Soul pose. And this is an equip spell. It says, equip only to a dragon synchro you control. Red Dragon Archfiend equipped with this card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects, period. Once per turn, during your main phase, you can make the attack of all monsters your opponent controls become equal. All monsters your opponent controls become equal to the equipped monsters. Once per turn, when an attack is declared involving the equipped monster, target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it. If you do, the equipped monster gains attack equal to that banished monster until the end of this turn. Now, I don't know why you would do the second effect, make your opponent attack of all your opponent's monsters become equal to the equipped monsters, because you can only equip this to a dragon synchro. I guess if you put it on like a Crimson Dragon or something, or an Ultimaya Zulkin, like a small guy, you can make them small. And certainly I think some of the red dragons can like do stuff based on your opponent's attack. But normally, I think the main thing is this is a card that would make RDA unaffected, and also you can use it to basically honest your opponent. It's a funny little tech card. I don't think you probably play it, but equip spells are searchable. But you need to make some room somewhere in this fucking deck, because, like, all of the new cards from the structure deck and all of the new cards from Blazing Dominion are good. You're probably playing some number of them. Like, you can Bone Archfiend, you can Crimson Flame Crime.
How often is this pose used? They love this pose of just the hand, like, almost knocking on the chest.
Well, that's the thing for the Burning Soul. That is the thing.
Yes, I mentioned earlier, I think that's the Burning Soul pose. So the Legendary Signer does it at least once, I think, in like a flashback. They might show that happening more. And then Jack does it at least once to copy him. So it's like a recurring pose. Even if it's only a couple of times, it's supposed to be like iconic. We'll talk about, once again, wrestling. He's got fucking poses and shit. But yes, that was Resonators and RDA accessories. I knew it was going to be a long-ass episode, but I'm glad it was to get, to do the pose and get bigger. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Sorry about some of the tech diff, but, we powered through it. We're back in. We almost went 4 hours. If you want more, check out yesterday's stream, where, like I said, Lucky was feeling sick, so we did not do Okami. I did Master Duel for a couple of hours. And I did Aliens Fireteam Elite for a couple of hours, where my soul certainly was burning. Also, I showed it in the intro, but like seriously, check out the short I just posted for the double flamethrower build. Like I said, I just had a very funny idea for basically a dumb like meme shit post, where I did like a glam edit of me flamethrowing aliens. So check that out. It's a recurring bit on the channel. Speaking of it. And come back tomorrow for Final Fantasy XIV streams. What exactly are we doing? Not sure, but it'll probably involve some sort of raids, Alliance or normal, and then maybe some other shit. I don't know, maybe a front lines or two in there. Gotta work on your PvP, and I'm working on getting all my fucking, getting my job gears cycled up. To be good for content good. For the future. Anyway, that's been the stream.
The future.
They say Boz just waiting for me. Now listen, I mean, if we
I'm not saying it to you. I'm just saying it as like an out loud thing. He didn't hear my whole spiel. Boz just killed the stream.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, like you guys cut out a little for me. I don't know how that'll sound in the VOD. Because OBS disconnected. I was just talking about Bozja, where I was like, listen, if we can do whatchamacallit, a Castrum, sure, we'll do it. It just that seems like you need to like just wait at the ideal time for a setup. But we're also in the middle of Occult Crescent and Eureka. I don't think I've been to Eureka on stream yet, even though we've been to Eureka.
Oh.
Honestly,
the funny
Eureka's
thing
not
is
that bad.
with you. The funny
There's
thing
just a lot
with
to do.
Eureka is that Lucky and I did power through all the way to get to the final bit, the raid inside Eureka, and we haven't touched it since.
Because you probably need 6 to 8 guys, depending on leveling.
Yeah, and people do coordinate that, but we saw the two-factor authentication saying, "Hey, are you sure you want to do this?" And we just went, "Nah, man."
Well, we'll work through there. But yeah, someday we'll catch up to the field packs. Anyway, this is probably the time to end the stream since we did explode a little. I do gotta go, get some water and rest my voice and gas up a little, and then hopefully be able to play some Far Far West with Loth a little bit. You should also consider checking out Far Far West, chat.
It's real good.
It's a pretty cool game, and it's sold a bunch, like 1 million copies in like a week or two. It's real cool. Thanks for hanging out. Like I said, we'll be back to 14 tomorrow, and hopefully my 14 stream is not so bad. But we do other stuff too that you should watch. That's all I gotta say. Goodbye.
Goodbye.